morning. KSL News Time is 5 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Amanda Dixon. Tim has the day off. KSL's top story this hour, the winds peaked overnight, but they're going to keep howling for the next several hours. KSL News Radio's Adam Small begins our live team coverage, severe Utah weather, out on the streets of Farmington. Adam?
Amanda, I can definitely say the winds have calmed down a little bit from overnight where I woke up a couple of times. But right now you can vaguely hear them. They are definitely still gusting pretty well. But I don't know if I want to speak too soon, but we may have lucked out just a little bit, at least so far with this storm, because at least here along Park Lane in Farmington, we were expecting potentially gusts up to 85 miles an hour, potentially more. But so far, according to the National Weather Service, the strongest gust they've clocked on Park Lane was 67 miles an hour overnight. There's actually a stronger gust in Brigham City along I-15 at 70 miles an hour. Now, so far in terms of damage or anything, I've mostly been around the mall, and it's mostly just been tumbleweeds and things flying around in the wind. Power is still on, lights are still on all over the area. But I'll continue to drive around the area to see if there's any further damage, people out of power. We are going to see these strong winds continue into this afternoon before they start to gradually calm down as we work into the weekend. Reporting live in Farmington, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
KSL TV's Andrew Adams was out in the wind overnight in Farmington and continues our team coverage, severe Utah weather.
My hat just blew clear over into that field. We actually ran after it, so I'm going to hold on to my hat literally. I mean, this porta potty's had better days. I mean, there's things blown over all over the place. I was actually going to pick up a piece of sheet metal to show you, but honestly, I could not bring it across the street because the winds were blowing so hard, it kept blowing it out of my hand.
Rocky Mountain Power says if you see a power line down this morning, stay away from it and report it. Don't think your ticket out of this windy weather is a trip to southern Utah. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with the reason why. Peter?
Amanda, you may not lose your hat down there, but running to central Utah or the national parks is not the best idea right now.
Anywhere from 1 to potentially up to close to 4 feet of snow at the highest terrain.
That's National Weather Service forecaster Hayden Mahan talking about places close to Lake Powell and Capitol Reef. He says even lower-lying places like Zion National Park will be getting at least a quarter-inch of rain, but you might find thinner crowds there for that reason. The storm's going to keep spinning rain and snow into central Utah, too, today and tomorrow, and some amount of storm will be with us early into next week. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
You can't escape bad weather by heading east either. There are problems in Wyoming. Let's check in with KSL traffic reporter Heather Kelly. What's going on, Heather?
Well, we do have the road reopened, I-80, between Evanston and Rock Springs. That had been closed all day yesterday. But if you're traveling even further east than that toward Nebraska, I-80 remains closed as you leave the Point Rocks area and try to get toward the Nebraska border. And many other of the state roads in Wyoming are also closed due to the snow and ice that's accumulated. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL's top national stories now. Severe weather was also hitting other parts of the country overnight with tornadoes reported from Texas to Ohio. Bob McCoy is the mayor of Winchester, Indiana, and says he's lucky to be alive this morning after a tornado went through his neighborhood.
It was spooky, and we stayed in the closet. We hunkered down in the closet with the dog.
2 deaths have been confirmed as a result of the tornadoes. Severe weather was also hitting other parts of the country overnight with tornadoes reported. Bob McCoy is the mayor of Winchester, Indiana. Of course, we just heard from him about what's happening there. First look traffic now, a little bit early, and we head over to you, Andy.
Well, we've got wind blowing you around, especially going up 215 and I-15. About 33rd South is where I felt it heading in, but you'll see it in different spots, and it's the high-profile vehicles. You'll feel it when you come out from behind one of those or off to the side, so be careful, although there's no delays on this Friday morning on the main corridor running between Ogden and Provo. We'll see how that goes, especially with traffic lights. Sometimes the wind can knock those out. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
The next time you're visiting St. George, you may notice the town getting a little more connected. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live to explain. Michael?
Amanda, so UDOT just gave the town an $86 million grant, and it looks like the city is planning to use it to build 2 crucial underpasses beneath I-15. One's going to be at 400 East, another at 900 South, and this means that crossing between the city's east and west side will be a little bit easier for residents or visitors. And going along with that, it'll help reduce traffic flow on I-15 as UDOT prepares to widen the freeway between St. George's major exits. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Expect some road closures this weekend in South Jordan. Crews will be working on Bangerter Highway again. UDOT says both lanes will be closed overnight while crews remove a pedestrian bridge. They'll shut down around 11 o'clock tonight and will reopen by tomorrow morning. Expect on and off delays throughout the weekend. The Utah Education Association does not like the plan to change the way education is funded.
The Utah Education Association is taking a stance against the ballot initiative that would open up the state income tax fund to be used for things other than education. UAA President Renee Pinkley says they're thinking of launching a campaign to prevent it from passing.
We certainly will be organizing and activating our over 18,000 members.
Pinkley says one concern of hers is money going to other state needs before public education.
We are very concerned about other state needs, which have been used for vouchers last year and this year to the tune of $82 million.
Claire Scott, KSL News Radio.
Some wealthy Americans are eyeing TikTok after the House passed a bill seeking to ban the app unless it's sold. The CEO of TikTok was on Capitol Hill yesterday pushing back on a forced sale.
It's going to impact 170 million Americans who use our app. It's going to impact 7 million small businesses, and I hope their voices are heard.
Former Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says he's putting together a group of investors to buy TikTok from its Chinese owners. Steve Mnuchin is going to own TikTok. Well, or possibly with a group. Let's see. We still have some windy conditions that are making for a tougher drive on some of the freeways. No crashes to report right now, but we'll take a closer look. Traffic and weather together coming up next.
Join your friends who rely on KSL each morning for the fastest routes to work and school.
I like traffic on the 9s.
So I need to get the kids up earlier so that my son isn't driving quickly in a snowstorm.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s.
On KSL News Radio.
IVC, Interventional Vascular and Vein Center, is having a Hello Spring Special event on Saturday, March 23rd. This will be a free screening for varicose veins at their office in Provo. Don't let leg pain slow you down. Come and learn why starting now is ideal to get you ready for summer. IVC has been in business for over 20 years and has been voted the best vein center of Utah Valley for 10 years running. IVC's doctors, advanced practice providers, and sonographers will be on hand to answer your questions. So stop in to IVC on Saturday, March 23rd for a free varicose vein screening. Space is limited, so please RSVP right now. Let's spring new life into your step. Visit ivein.com. ivein.com. That's the letter I, VEIN.com to schedule your new year, new legs free screening at IVC. Because life starts when the pain stops.
2 years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
There's desperation and anguish.
More than 80,000 Afghans have since arrived in America, but this story is still unfolding. I'm Andrea Smartin. In my new podcast, Stranger Becomes Neighbor, we'll find out what happens to these new arrivals in our communities. Who would help our newest neighbors? Follow us at kslpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen.
If you're just joining us this morning, did you have any wind last night? Did it keep you awake at all? If it's safe for you to do so, I always appreciate a text to let me know what it's like where you are. You can text at 57500 and give me a wind update in your neighborhood. Right now it's 5:09. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Did you have any bad wind, Andy?
I did. I felt it on the way in, but not till I got closer from West Jordan until I was in West Valley, coming up around 3500 South. But then it hit really hard. Going up towards downtown Salt Lake City. Coming out of Tooele County, you'll be driving into it, and that may be better or worse. I don't know. For those of you driving near high-profile vehicles, especially when they're heading north or south, that's where you're going to be most worried. Heather?
We're looking okay speed-wise up through Weber and Davis County, but we also have the winds blowing, and we're seeing a lot of dust blow across the roadways as well, especially near the mouth of the canyons. I-84 is particularly bad. Cameras are waving around in the wind as well. So right now we don't have a lot of traffic on the roadways, but you definitely want to use caution, as Andy said, especially around high-profile vehicles. Eric?
We don't have any crashes in Utah County, and the freeway is looking good. Northbound from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain, that's a 24-minute drive. Parley's Canyon looking fine. If you're heading out to the Kimball Junction exit, no problems on I-80. And if you're on the Wasatch Pack US 40, looking good too. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
East winds continue for the northern Wasatch Front. Look for highs in the mid-50s today, partly cloudy skies. We'll likely see a lull in the winds this afternoon, then ramping back up tonight. For tomorrow, 57, a little bit breezy, dry skies, up to 60 by Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, downtown, it's 36 degrees. Coming up in a moment, we'll speak with Stephen Portnoy. Were you surprised at all to hear Chuck Schumer yesterday call for the ouster of Benjamin Netanyahu? He says Netanyahu has lost his way, and they should have elections to elect a new leader in Israel. We'll talk more with Stephen about that just ahead on KSL. Streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
We weren't sure adoption would happen for us, but when it did, it happened threefold.
Mary and her husband first met their 3 children when they became their foster parents. Little did they know that their house would become the siblings' forever home.
We had to help them adjust to the idea that they wouldn't have to leave. Children in foster care have lived and survived so much. We had to help them process their trauma. And now to hear our children say that they know they have a mother and father who take care of us, teach us, and love us means everything.
The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is committed to finding safe, permanent homes for the longest waiting children in foster care.
I not only love these kids, I am just so proud of them.
You can help. Visit davethomasfoundation.org.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active Liver Tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day Active Liver Tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. You can find Active Liver at Amazon.com, or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Go to NewNordicUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New year, new you. New Nordic.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson.
Our goal every day on Inside Sources is to help you divide the rage from the reason, elevate the conversation, connect the dots, and make the news make sense in your world. We have conversations with great thinkers, with great leaders, and great people who are just out there making a difference in the world. Now, we do talk about politics, but only so we can discuss society and culture. And then we explore society and culture so we can discuss principles and the people in America and the state of Utah who actually live them and apply them every day. We bring the best and brightest minds to the state of Utah, and we love to take the Utah model and send it out to our nation's capital and beyond. Every day on Inside Sources, you'll be part of that conversation. To help you understand things in a different way, we'll get you to think again about what you think you know, but most important, we're going to help you have confidence to have crucial conversations in your community and in your own home.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time is 5:14. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the winds aren't at their peak anymore, but they are still roaring, and it's going to stay that way for the next several hours. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, severe weather is hitting most of the country. 2 people are confirmed dead after a series of tornadoes from Texas to Ohio. Third, traffic and weather together.
So far, no significant delay on the freeways, I-15, I-80, 215. You'll feel the wind if you're driving north or south, especially the closer you get to Salt Lake and then further north. But so far, that hasn't translated into any traffic tie-ups along the Wasatch Front. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Windy again today with partly cloudy skies. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 36 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for our top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Severe weather and reported tornadoes caused destruction in the Midwest. The powerful storms blamed for at least 2 deaths in Logan County, Ohio.
It's pure devastation. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life.
Amber Fagans with the Indian Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. 13 people taken to hospitals in Indiana. Across the region, there are more than 44,000 power outages. Today could be another pivotal day regarding former President Trump's legal issues. A ruling's expected in Georgia as to whether District Attorney Fani Willis must remove herself from the case because of an alleged inappropriate relationship with a prosecutor. ABC's Em Wynn says there are also developments in another case.
In New York, the District Attorney's Office now offering to delay Trump's criminal hush money trial set to start in 2 weeks. They say they just received thousands of documents from the Justice Department and want to give Trump's legal team time to review them.
A Michigan jury convicted James Crumbley, the father of a school shooter, of involuntary manslaughter in connection with the 2021 killings of 4 students at Oxford High School. James and his wife Jennifer Crumbley both face decades in prison when they're sentenced next month. Hamas handed over its official written response to the U.S. brokered framework for a 6-week ceasefire, reportedly agreeing to delay talks to end the war until after it frees more hostages. But there are new diplomatic tensions between Israel and the U.S. after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said that Benjamin Netanyahu's lost his way.
As a lifelong supporter of Israel, it has become clear to me the Netanyahu coalition no longer fits the needs of Israel after October 7th.
Calling for new leadership, State Department spokesman Matthew Miller says,
and I'm sure that they fully understand that he speaks for himself,
referring to the government of Israel. You're listening to ABC News.
I wonder. Let's go in depth on that. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calling for new elections. Joining me live from Washington, ABC national correspondent Stephen Portnoy. I wonder how this is playing, Stephen.
Hey, good morning, Amanda. Not playing well in Israel, I'll tell you that. Likud, the party that Netanyahu's been a member of for so many years, says that Israel's not a banana republic, and it's not for a longtime ally to decide who the Israeli people should choose as their leader. And as you know, for so many occasions over the last several decades, the Israeli people have chosen Benjamin Netanyahu, and he now is the leader of a coalition. Well, Chuck Schumer says it's time for new elections, that Netanyahu has lost his way, that the coalition that Netanyahu leads no longer meets Israel's needs in the aftermath of the October 7th attacks. The fierce response from American Republicans has been to say that this is grotesque, in the words of Mitch McConnell, the Senate Minority Leader. McConnell says Schumer is disrespecting Israeli democracy. And you had House Republicans yesterday from their retreat in West Virginia holding a news conference to say that essentially now the Republican Party is the party that is firmly standing with Israel, while Democrats are backing away from America's longtime ally. McConnell also said that it's not so much Netanyahu that Democrats have a problem with. It's Israelis that Democrats have a problem with, because Netanyahu is enacting the policies and prosecuting the war the way most Israelis would want.
He also called for Mahmoud Abbas to step aside too, didn't he?
That is true. In his 40-minute address on the Senate floor yesterday, the majority leader said that there ought to be a two-state solution, which at the moment Netanyahu has indicated it seems impossible. And so Schumer says that there should be a two-state solution, and that Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority, should also go. These remarks are extraordinary given the leadership role that Schumer has. He has also been a steadfast supporter of Israel, and in the aftermath of October 7th, one of the leading champions for additional aid and support for Israel. The question now is, what are the ramifications of his change in tone and position? The Senate has already passed the foreign aid bill that includes money for Israel without any kind of strings attached. It also includes aid for Palestinians. That bill is at the feet of House Speaker Mike Johnson, who has, for the moment, declined to put it on the floor because it also includes aid for Ukraine without money for border security. What happens now if Speaker Johnson decides that he's not going to put that foreign aid bill on the floor? How will Israel receive additional American support with the majority leader now taking the public position that he has? That's not clear. And yesterday, my colleague Matt Gutman in Israel heard from an Israeli military official who said that it seemed to him that American military aid is now being slow-walked by the Biden administration. And the ramifications of this policy change and this change in position, it's now being made clear exactly what the ramifications are for the American-Israeli relationship. Republicans are deeply upset by this.
So it's being slow-walked because the administration wants a ceasefire, right?
Well, the administration wants a ceasefire. What the administration is denying is that aid is being slow-walked. But that is the observation that Israeli officials are sharing with us.
All right, Stephen, thank you for your reporting. Stephen Portnoy from Washington, ABC national correspondent with us on the In-Depth at 15 and 45. Let's get a look at traffic and weather together early on a Friday morning, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, travel through Salt Lake County on I-15, still moving fairly well. No extra travel time between Draper and downtown, so it's a little less than 20 minutes on the freeway. So Tooele County, so far, so good. From Tooele City to Lake Point on SR 36. Looks a little heavy, though, on Redwood Road, going up from 21st South towards California Avenue. Heather?
No accidents reported in Weber, Davis counties, but you still have plenty of wind gusting, and that is blowing cars around the freeways. You should be okay. I-15, US 89, Legacy Parkway, but you want to have a firm grip on that steering wheel. And right now, it's still about 30 minutes or less between Ogden and Salt Lake. Eric?
Heading out into the mountains, no problems as far as crashes or delays on 189 through Provo Canyon. Spanish Fork Canyon looks pretty good, too, if you're heading out to Price, and Parley's Canyon also in good shape on I-80 going out to Park City along the 215 East Belt. No difficulties heading north right now alongside the mountains. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, brands you know at prices you'll love. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast looking at a high of 56 today, partly cloudy skies and some pesky east winds north of Salt Lake City. 57, mostly sunny tomorrow, a little bit breezy. Less wind on Sunday, partly cloudy, 60 degrees. Here comes high pressure. Sunny skies on Monday, 62 up to 64. Very spring-like for your Tuesday sunny skies. We'll keep it in the mid-60s as we work through middle of next week with more clouds. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Let me see. Right now, it's 36 degrees downtown. I just got a text a minute ago. Good morning, Amanda. It's very windy in North Ogden. KSL has given me good recommendations in the past. Know any good roofers? Oh, no. Did you have roof damage up there? I bet some. You know, this would be a smart time for a roofing company to be advertising on the air, because I bet there are a lot of people who are in need of some roof repair, maybe even some new roof entirely. After that windstorm, we're still feeling the effects this morning. I do appreciate our weather watchers letting us know what it's like where you are. Are you still feeling the wind this morning like they are in North Ogden? If it's safe for you to do so, you can text me and let me know what conditions are where you are anytime at 57500, or just say good morning, happy Friday to you, that kind of thing. Coming up next, let's see, where did the markets close yesterday? Let me just take a quick look here and see. Did we close up? No, we did not. We closed down yesterday. The Dow closed down 137 at 38,905, so still close to 39,000. The S&P closed down 14. NASDAQ closed down 49. We'll see where the futures markets are just ahead on KSL News Radio.
Do you enjoy fishing, hunting, or just soaking in the beautiful outdoors? Then you need to check out the KSL Outdoors Show, airing Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. and midnight on KSL 5 TV. Outdoors with Me, Adam Eagle, is a unique show that takes viewers on a journey through Utah's beautiful backcountry. Watch it live every weekend or find the Outdoor Show on YouTube, KSLOutdoors.com, Facebook, and Instagram. It's the KSL Outdoors Show, brought to you by Camp Chef.
Good morning. I'm the 40% off window company.
40% off? Of what?
Hey, 40% off.
Yeah, I'll bet it's your biggest sale of the year. This week only, because you need a model home in our neighborhood. Well, nothing. It's baloney. Hi, this is Kathy.
And Doug of Window World. When you hear those things, you know you've entered the baloney zone.
Resist the force of the baloney zone.
Find Window World online at windowworldutah.com.
Or call Window World at 281-8111. That's 281-8111.
And that's no baloney.
Boyd Matheson. Listening to Inside Sources is a little different from just reading the headlines because we're always going to get you into that think again moment. We have experts from around the country, across the world, and right here local to home that'll help us dive in and get past just the hype, the fluff, the fake fights, and the false choice so we can get into the news to help you connect the dots and make the news make sense.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The Fed will hold meetings next week to discuss interest rates, but investors are not expecting to see a cut after we got 2 inflation reports this week that were higher than expected. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait a while longer. Retail sales did go up in February compared to January, which should help some stocks this morning. Consumer spending makes up about 2/3 of U.S. economic growth. Target will start rolling out express self-checkout lanes this Sunday. The idea is they'll strictly enforce the 10-item or less limit. Oh, so Express, you can go faster if you have just a couple of items. Let's see where the futures markets are. Oh, so the futures markets are back up. Dow futures this morning are up 60. That's over 1/10%. The S&P futures up 10. That's 0.2. NASDAQ futures up 29, which is a little less than 0.2%. Crude oil is over $80 a barrel. Yeah, we wonder where inflation's coming from. Yeah, it's up 52 cents to $80.74 a barrel. All right, we have no crashes or delays to report on a Friday morning. Some drivers are contending with wind, especially up north. So we'll get a report. Traffic and weather together coming up next.
Dave and Debbie.
I want our listeners to feel like they have an advocate, that they have somebody that's going to fight for them, challenge the status quo or the pithy soundbite. We have a unique job where we have access to interviews and people that not everyone has. We take that seriously. So if we do feel like we're getting a spin, then we can challenge it. I love it when people tell me, I was just thinking about that question that you asked. I'm glad you asked that question. That's like the height of compliment.
I want our listeners to feel empowered to use the information that they've learned on the Dave and Dujanovic Show to help their families, to help make good decisions, help investigate other avenues to maybe protect their family's safety or protect their family's money. I'm hopeful our show leaves our listeners with a sense of empowerment so they can make the best decision possible for themselves and for their families.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Thinking about retirement? Make sure a My Social Security account is a part of your plan. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can find out if you're eligible to receive benefits, compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates, view spousal benefit estimates, and more. Plan for your future. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Shh, shh. Do you hear that? Tick tock. That's the sound of time running out on the TikTok app. Or maybe it's the sound of your kids getting off their phones and going outside to feel grass. Or maybe they just find a new app to obsess over. Get updates on the fate of TikTok and your kids' future screen time this week on KSL News Radio.
Yeah, this morning we're hearing that Steve Mnuchin might be buying TikTok with a group of investors. All right, 5:29, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon, Andy.
Amanda, travel through Salt Lake County, I-15 still clear. You'll feel the wind as you go north and south, but so far it hasn't resulted in any crashes or delays. Coming out of Tooele County on I-80 and 201, you're fine, but it's a little bit heavy SR-36 in Stansbury Park. Heather?
We're seeing a few more cars on South southbound I-15 coming out of Ogden. Not enough to slow anybody down yet all the way into Salt Lake City, but you will feel that wind buffet you around, especially if you're closer to the canyons. So US 89, I-84, they're seeing quite a bit of wind and dust blow across the roadways, so just use caution. Eric.
From Provo to Lehigh, I-15 looks fine in Utah County as far as your pace. You got a normal one, and if you're northbound on Redwood Road out of Saratoga Springs, no trouble going up past Camp Williams to the Bluffdale-Riverton area. Along the Wasatch Bank, minor slowdowns heading north from the River Road intersection north of Heber, heading up the hill to Jordanelle Reservoir. For a limited time, open a 12-month certificate from Cyprus Credit Union and get 5.25% APY. Learn more at any branch or visit cypruscu.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
I am liking this forecast. Today will be mostly sunny, high 56, and we start getting warmer. 57. Tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day. Sunday, 60. We get up to 65 degrees. By Wednesday and Thursday, it'll be 65 degrees. And it looks like our next chance for rain will be on Thursday of next week. Right now, they're showing a 30% chance of rain Thursday. So we should have mostly sunny skies until then. Right now, it is still chilly, though, 38 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 5:30. Tim has the day off. KSL's top story this hour. We've still got strong winds blowing around the Wasatch Front, and we could take some time before that starts to die down again. KSL News Radio's Adam Small begins our live team coverage, severe Utah weather, and he's out on the roads in Farmington. Adam?
Amanda, I've been driving around the west side of town over the last few minutes, and I'm glad to report that I am not really seeing any power outages. I'm not seeing a ton of damage to people's houses. I'm not seeing any lawn furniture or anything like strewn all over the place or flying around. Mostly just seeing tumbleweeds and maybe a plastic bag here or there flying around the parking lot that I'm in right now. We may have actually lucked out a little bit, at least so far right now. We were looking at potential winds in this area along Park Lane of potentially upwards of 80, 85 miles an hour on the earlier forecast. But so far, the National Weather Service, the strongest wind gust they've clocked along Park Lane was 67 miles an hour, and that was overnight. And the winds, according to National Weather Service senior meteorologist Monica Traphagen, tells me that it is starting to go on the downturn, that these gusts are just starting to calm down ever so slightly. I'm going to head a little further towards Farmington Canyon to check out the east side of town to see if they're hopefully dealing with the same circumstances. And we'll keep you updated here throughout the morning. Live in Farmington, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Some folks did have a rough night up north, though. Neighbors cleaning up after some damage. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson continues our team coverage.
Folks are cleaning up after some wind damage in Clearfield. Enrique Sanchez out with his boys Thursday afternoon, clearing out limb and tree debris from his yard. One Farmington man tells KSL5 he and his neighbors have been through all of this before. He himself on his third roof, all previous ones ripped up by high winds.
We've had trampolines go through windows. People lose their entire roof. So most people are here on their third or fourth roof, definitely. Multiple fences. Yeah, every year people have to go swap garbage cans out. Pretty common occurrence.
KSL meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke says winds should blow out of here by early afternoon today. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
The Utah Department of Public Safety has some tips for staying safe in the middle of these strong winds. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with more. Peter?
Amanda, some people might have ideas about staying safe from the classic movie Twister.
These pipes go down at least 30 feet. We anchor to it, we might have a chance.
But instead of strapping yourself down, Utah Department of Public Safety Director Jess Anderson tells KSL at Night to do that for the stuff on your patio.
Any loose materials, any loose objects, patio furniture, chairs, trash cans, anything that's going to become a flying piece of debris, you can bring that in and secure it.
Anderson says the best solution is often to not go out at all.
Just stay in tonight and wait the storm out. And like I said, we anticipate and expect much lighter winds come daylight.
Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. President Biden is out campaigning, hitting potential swing states.
President Joe Biden out on the campaign trail, where he touted his infrastructure investment and slammed his November rival.
They want to undo everything I just talked about.
This as Vice President Kamala Harris toured a health clinic in Minnesota that offers abortion services, marking the first time a president or VP has ever done so.
ABC's Em Nguyen reports former President Trump has been busy with his legal team preparing for various court cases. The numbers are in for Utah, and the Utah Republican Party says former President Trump secured over half of the votes, 56.4%. But it was close. Nikki Haley grabbed 42.7% of the votes here in Utah, while Texas businessman Ryan Binkley, who dropped out after ballots were printed, got just 1%. We're getting answers from Senator Mitt Romney after he voted against a bill that would expand compensation for victims of nuclear radiation testing during the 50s and 60s. A spokesperson for the senator says the bill is too broad and too expensive. He supported a similar bill last year, but claims that one was more specific. Our other Utah Senator Mike Lee also voted against the bill. First look traffic now, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
Well, so far the delays have yet to appear on this Friday morning. Light traffic patterns on I-15. That's helping things. We've got traffic a little bit busy on Bangerter in West Valley coming down the hill from 201 towards Lake Park Boulevard. But no problems yet as far as the delays or extra travel time. I'm Andy Farnsworth at the KSL Traffic Center.
Mortgage rates are dropping, and they're expected to drop even more this year. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Gurr has more.
The national 30-year fixed mortgage rate is currently at 6.84%, according to data from the Mortgage Bankers Association. The lower rates have already started to increase national demand, but sellers are still hesitant about putting their homes on the market. The president of the Utah Realtors Association, Adam Kirkham, says any drop in mortgage rates will help both buyers and sellers in Utah.
We don't see indications of them going ever again down to the 3s and 4s, but if they could ease a little bit, that would go a long ways with the cost of home ownership for a buyer.
He says he expects rates will continue to slightly drop through the end of this year. Alessandra Gurr, KSL News Radio.
75% of the counties in Utah saw growth this year. The latest data from the Census Bureau shows Utah's population grew by 36,000 people between July of 2022 and 2023. A large chunk of that growth is in Utah County, but the most populated county is Salt Lake with 1.2 million residents. The Utah Food Bank needs more than 100 million pounds of food to take care of everyone who needs help.
Right now, the racks at the Food Bank warehouse in West Valley are pretty empty.
So this past year, we distributed 60 million pounds of food. That's hard to kind of envision, but think about 50 million meals. If we were to go out across our state and take the adequate amount of food that people need and give everyone that level of donation, we would need another 46 million pounds of food.
Utah Food Bank President and CEO Jeanette Bott says they've just opened a couple new pantries in southern Utah, and they're still trying to support pantries in schools and mobile pantries. Tomorrow is the statewide Feed Utah food drive. Don Brinker-Huff, KSL News Radio.
So put those non-perishables out before 9 a.m. Tomorrow morning so we can help feed Utah. I-15 is moving at a normal pace along the Wasatch Front to start off your Friday. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up next.
Spend time with KSL News Radio and get a deeper understanding of the world around us.
I do listen to KSL so much because you've got voices like Boyd Matheson.
I listen to him every day.
You can trust him.
Inside Sources, weekdays 1 to 3.
On KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house. Whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
IVC, Interventional Vascular and Vein Center, is having a Hello Spring special event on Saturday, March 23rd. This will be a free screening for varicose veins at their office in Provo. Don't let leg pain slow you down. Come and learn why starting now is ideal to get you ready for summer. IVC has been in business for over 20 years and has been voted the best vein center of Utah Valley for 10 years running. IVC's doctors, advanced practice providers, and sonographers will be on hand to answer your questions. So stop in to IVC on Saturday, March 23rd for a free varicose vein screening. Space is limited, so please RSVP right now. Let's spring new life into your step. Visit ivein.com. ivein.com. That's the letter I, VEIN.com to schedule your new year, new legs free screening at IVC. Because life starts when the pain stops.
Tim and Amanda.
Do I look forward to reporting the news? Yes, insofar as it helps me understand what's happening.
We know that it's important information that's going to impact people's lives, and so that makes the job of reporting the news that day easier.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
If you're just joining us this morning, did you have any wind damage overnight? I know some folks up in the northern part of the state experienced some wind damage. They're still feeling the winds up there this morning, although the advisory goes away at noon today. Let's take a look at traffic and weather together. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Over to you, Andy.
Amanda, through Salt Lake County, closest thing to a backup is some slowing coming down the hill on Bangerter from the 201 freeway. It's been looking pretty good on Mountain View this morning. I-15 yet to see any delays, and coming out of Tooele County, I-80 at the full speed limit. Heather?
We're also delay and accident-free up through Weber and Davis counties. Most of the traffic that I'm seeing right now is centered around the west gate of Hill Air Force Base. Not even trying to get into the gate. It's just on Main Street. That's where you have most of the traffic at the moment that's concentrated. You do have traffic still continuing to fill in southbound I-15 from Ogden to Salt Lake, and lots of wind buffeting you around the roadways. Eric?
And, of course, you need to contend with wind in parts like the mouth of Parley's Canyon. Right now, the 215 eastbound heading north past Mount Olympus to the mouth of the canyon. That's in pretty decent shape. You don't have any accidents or delays. Foothill Drive at this early juncture heading north, that's also looking good. And I-15 Utah County, no crashes or delays from Provo to Point of the Mountain. Choose a gorgeous new countertop for your kitchen or bath at the Bedrock Quartz Stone Sale, starting at just $39 a foot. Visit bedrockquartz.com. That's bedrockquartz.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be keeping those east winds around today. 56 the high, partly cloudy skies, maybe even a lull in the winds this afternoon, then ramping back up late tonight Friday morning with a low of 35. 57 tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, partly cloudy with a high of 60 by Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Let's see where we are this morning. It's 38 degrees. We're going to talk politics with Rick Klein coming up in just a moment. I do want to ask him what he thinks about Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calling for Netanyahu to step aside. That's interesting. But we'll ask him some other questions, too, like, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers as a potential vice president candidate? That's coming up next, streaming live on KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ryan Black, speaking for the National Kidney Foundation of Utah and Idaho. I'm not only an emergency room doctor that works with Utah emergency physicians, but I'm also a kidney transplant recipient. After my kidney transplant, the National Kidney Foundation of Utah and Idaho helped me with a scholarship to study pre-med at Westminster College. Did you know that March is National Kidney Month? 10% of Americans are affected by kidney disease, and there are over 70,000 people on the transplant waiting list. In fact, every year, more people die from kidney failure than from prostate or breast cancer. Kidney failure is most often caused by diabetes or high blood pressure. The National Kidney Foundation of Utah invites you to a free kidney health screening. March is Kidney Month. Visit kidneyut.org or call the local Kidney Foundation office at 801-226-5111 to sign up for your free kidney screening today. That's 801-226-5111.
The time has finally come. Saturday, March 16th at America First Field for the return of royalty. The Utah Royals are back. Be there as head coach Amy Rodriguez, Kate Del Fava, Manny Bogarsh, and more. Set out to reclaim the Utah Royals legacy. Tickets are available now. Visit UtahRoyals.com or call 844-REAL-TIX to reserve your seats. The return of royalty. The Utah Royals home opener. Saturday, March 16th. Be more than a fan. Be part of a new era. Jazz Plus is here. With Jazz Plus, you can watch games live from your TV, computer, tablet, or phone. So don't miss any of the action when you're at home or away. Can't get enough of your favorite team? Go behind the scenes and see what the team is up to on and off the court. With flexible plans, you can choose what works for you, from full season to monthly, or just pick a single game you want to watch. Sign up and subscribe today at UtahJazzPlus.com.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 544. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Central and southern Utah may not be that windy, but they're getting a blanket of rain and snow this weekend. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, police have arrested a driver linked to a hit-and-run crash near 600 West and North Temple. Salt Lake City police say the suspect ran a red light and hit a 20-year-old woman in the crosswalk. Third, traffic and weather together.
Still clear on I-15, at least of delays. You'll feel the wind as you drive around this morning, but so far you won't see any extra travel time as traffic is really light this Friday morning. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking at some wind to start the weekend, but some nice temperatures next week. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, downtown, 38 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Both parents of a Michigan school shooter have now been convicted of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. A jury Thursday convicted James Crumbley. He and his wife Jennifer, who was already convicted, will be sentenced next month. Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald said
they could have prevented this shooting and saved these kids' lives and protected the hundreds of kids in the school that day and all of the members of the Oxford community that it devastated.
3 people are now confirmed dead in Ohio after powerful storms swept through Logan County, part of a system that included reported tornadoes in several Midwestern states. A dozen people taken to hospitals in Indiana. A decision's expected today over whether Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis will be allowed to stay on the team prosecuting former President Trump and others in an election interference case. And it's the first of 3 days of voting in Russia, another 6-year terms expected for Vladimir Putin. This is ABC News.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. keeps making headlines as he tries to gather support for his presidential bid. Joining me live is ABC News political director Rick Klein. Is he picking Aaron Rodgers for the vice presidential slot, Rick?
I kind of think there's a better chance that the Jets win the Super Bowl, which they haven't done in 55 or 60 years. So I'm not there yet, but I talked to a bunch of Democrats this week that said, look, if he goes with Aaron Rodgers, that makes us less worried as a party about what's next, maybe more worried as a country. But, I don't think that's necessarily serious, but we'll see. It's up to Kennedy, and the names out there are certainly an intriguing mix. We heard Mike Rowe, the Dirty Jobs guy. We've heard about Jesse the Body Ventura, the former Minnesota governor. So it's an interesting short list, unlike anything I've seen before.
Is he going to have any impact on the election?
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. If he's going to be on the ballot in at least a handful of states. I think Utah's one of them. I don't think at this point that it's it's going to be enough where this is going to be on a debate stage like Ross Perot or in danger of really winning any electoral votes. But it doesn't take much in this country to get enough votes to make up the difference between the Democrat and the Republican. You've got a bunch of states that are decided by 1 or 2 points. So if he gets 8, 9, 10, 11 points in some places, either as a protest vote or just by name recognition, I don't know how he isn't a factor.
Can I ask you about Chuck Schumer's speech on the Senate floor where he called for Netanyahu to step aside? Help me understand the politics of this.
Well, I think it has more to do with American politics than Israeli politics. I don't think there's many people in Israel that are looking where the Senate majority leader in America thinks. But I think Chuck Schumer is the most prominent Jewish elected official in the country, and in fact, in American history. For him to come out and call for a new head of the Israeli government is really striking, unprecedented. And I think it reflects the politics back home, whether it's in New York or more broadly, among Jewish voters or all voters, that there's frustration with the Israelis. There's frustration that Netanyahu is so focused on a violent, vicious war that he isn't looking down the road, isn't capable of looking down the road. In some ways, he said the quiet part out loud, because I think a lot of American officials have been saying, probably even before October 7th, even that Netanyahu had to go. October 7th might have been a moment to rally behind Netanyahu, but now it's been a month, and the humanitarian suffering is real, and as is the fact that the hostages are still there, and that Hamas bears so much of the responsibility for what happened. But I think that the politics have shifted, and I think Senator Schumer was reflecting that.
You know, I've heard some people say, hey, it's none of our business. It's none of America's business what they do in Israel. But I was just looking. By law, we give Israel a minimum of $3.8 billion every year for security. So I think we have a right to have an opinion, don't we?
I think it's more than, I think it's even more than the money that matters. They are our only, democratic ally in the region. And if we didn't exist helping them and backing them up, they almost certainly wouldn't exist by now. I mean, I think that's the only way that for 75 years that they've been able to. And I think, look, I don't know what right money gives us to dictating politics, but I think raising concerns around a certain type of leader and leadership at a certain time is, you could say that's what friends do, or maybe that's what frenemies do too.
Yeah, interesting. As always, thank you, Rick. ABC News political director Rick Klein with me on the In-Depth at 15 and 45. 5:49 now. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Back to you, Andy.
And we've got traffic on I-15 that's rolling from Draper to downtown so far this morning, although you'll feel the wind, especially as you get closer to Salt Lake City. But if you're coming out of Tooele and you're driving straight into the wind, no issues yet. Speeds have been pretty good. SR 201 starting to get a little bit heavy in Magna near 7200 West. Heather?
Still no slowdowns up north in Weber and Davis County. You've got good speeds on all the major freeways. But if you're on the east side of the valley, especially US 89, portions of I-84, Harrison Boulevard, that's where we're seeing the strongest wind gusts right now. That doesn't mean you won't be buffeted around on I-15 and Legacy Parkway, but just not as much. Eric.
Got a little bit of intersection delays on State Street in Orem as you roll northbound or southbound between University Parkway and Center Street. But that's about it in Utah County. I-15 is cruising along at a normal rate. It's a 30-minute drive from Santa Quin to Point of the Mountain. Getting over to the freeway for Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs drivers, no big deal so far on 2100 North or Pioneer Crossing. Save thousands on Bernina. Quilting, serger, and sewing machines at Dave's Bernina, Provo, and St. George. Accessory bargains and free gift pack with machine purchase. 2.99% APR, 60-month financing offer. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Keep the hairspray handy if you live north of Salt Lake City. Pesky east winds continue with a high of 56 and partly cloudy skies. Mostly sunny tomorrow, less wind. We'll call it breezy. Partly cloudy, 60 degrees on Sunday, and high pressure on the move for Utah. Monday, 62. Tuesday, 64. Up to 65 for Wednesday and Thursday, with mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And let's see where we are this morning, 38 degrees, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. What are you going to do this weekend? Got any fun plans this weekend? We want to go see that movie. It's the new Mark Wahlberg movie, Arthur the King. This book about this marathon runner who picks up a stray dog along the way of this just monster marathon was one of the books that my son read when he was learning to read, and he has the fondest memory of that. So we're gonna go see that. I'm gonna ask Andy later on this morning what he thought if he had a chance to see it. We'll talk movies with Andy Farnsworth. Oh, you did? He did see it. All right, we'll talk to Andy about that later. Right now, KSL News Time is 5:52.
Starting March 18th for 3 days only, shop limited-time doorbusters during Lowe's MVP's bonus days. Buy one Metabo HPT 15-degree roofing nailer. Get one box of Metabo HPT 1 1/4-inch collated roofing nails free, a $49.98 value. Plus, save $39 on a Little Giant A4 6-foot 300-pound stepladder. Shop these deals and more while supplies last. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 3/18 through 3/20. Selection varies by location.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Only one type of burger. For every pallet. Fries are extra. Large in size. We've got the shakes. Going over the brim.
Hey, this is Chris from JCW's.
Put a positive, delicious spin on your day at any one of our 5 locations. In Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, or Harriman. JCW's, quality, and a lot of it.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
KSL News Time is 5:54. Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The FCC says 24 million Americans do not have access to high-speed internet, with the biggest problems being in rural areas. KSL Drive's Google's self-driving car division, called Waymo, is going to start testing self-driving cars on the freeways in Phoenix. They've had self-driving cars in city streets for months, but they say getting on the freeway is a crucial step in their testing. A typical stick of deodorant costs around $5 to $8, but some luxury brands want you to pay a lot more than that. The Le Labo brand has a 1.7-ounce roll-on stick that smells like lavender and costs $37. Chanel is even more, with their deodorant spray costing $65. Okay, $65 for deodorant. Let's see where we are this morning. The Dow futures are up 60. That's 0.1%. S&P up 10. That's 0.2. The Nasdaq futures up 29, which is just shy of 0.2. Cougar Tracks is sponsored by Central Bank CB Vault, Utah's help center for startups and entrepreneurs. Visit cbutah.com. And here is BYU insider Mitch Harper.
After the disappointing exit in the Big 12 tournament, BYU basketball is waiting until Sunday to find out who they will face in the NCAA tournament. The Cougars have put themselves in a position where many bracketologists forecast them as a 5 or 6 seed in the Big Dance. It'll be the first NCAA bid for BYU hoops since the 2021 season. They haven't played in an NCAA tournament that wasn't impacted by COVID since 2015. BYU's leading scorer Jackson Robinson is ready to turn the page towards the NCAA.
You know, this loss, it obviously hurts, but like you said, we have the tournament coming up, so we have to move on. We'll digest, the film, stuff like that, look over it, but essentially we just got to move on to the next game and focus on what's ahead. We got bigger goals, so that's what matters.
For a recap of BYU's run in the Big 12 tournament and what lies ahead in the NCAA tournament, listen to Cougar Sports Saturday tomorrow beginning at noon right here on KSL. With Cougar Tracks, I'm Mitch Harper on your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Are you a startup, entrepreneur, or business owner looking for funding? Look no further than Central Bank's CB Vault, Utah's help center for startups and entrepreneurs. CB Vault understands the unique challenges faced by business owners. CB Vault is here to help you start, grow, or thrive with a dedicated help center for startups and entrepreneurs, providing personalized financial solutions, networking, and guidance for every step of the way. With a range of services tailored for startups and small businesses and expert financial advice to flexible loan options, CB Vault helps you get funding and allows you to keep your equity. Whether you're seeking funding, planning expansion, or navigating the financial landscape, CB Vault's team of experts is ready to assist you in turning your vision into reality. Don't let financial barriers hold you back. Central Bank's CB Vault is here to unlock your business potential. Visit CB Vault today at cbutah.com. Central Bank, voted best bank in Utah Valley. Strong, local, secure. Since 1891. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson.
When we're trying to digest the news of the day, we have to remember that instant certainty is the enemy of truth. A flashy headline may distract you from the real issue and the important conversations underneath.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Are you using the KSL News Radio app to listen to your favorite shows whenever you want? You can podcast Utah's morning news even after it's finished at 9. You can listen to David Najanovic or Boyd Matheson. Just click on the podcast tab. And you can stream Jeff Kaplan live between 3 and 7 right from the player. All of those shows, plus the KSL Greenhouse and Cougar Sports Saturday, they're on the app for KSL News Radio. KSL News Radio.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 5:59. Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s. Brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, still about a 20-minute drive from Point of the Mountain to Salt Lake City on I-15 this morning. Some heavy traffic on State Street as you go from Draper into Sandy this morning, and some heavy traffic on Mountain View around 5400 South right now out on the west side of Kearns. Heather?
Less than 30 minutes from Ogden to Salt Lake, whether you take I-15, US 89, or Legacy Parkway. But some of those roadways are going to be very, very windy, and you're going to have to hang on to those steering wheels. But the good news is no accidents reported in Weber or Davis County so far. Eric?
And in Utah County, I-15, despite some intersection stoplight slowdowns, we do have pretty good movement throughout the county. From Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain, that's a 24-minute drive. If you're going out to Heber City through Provo Canyon, that's not bad this morning, as is the case for I-80 drivers going through Parley's Canyon along the Wasatch Bank. We don't have any slow movement, at least at the moment, northbound on US 40 from Heber City, heading by Jordanelle Reservoir up to the Park City turnoff. Need a perfect event venue? There's a place. This is the place, Heritage Park. Ideal for weddings, events featuring 11 venues, beautiful grounds, and affordability for any celebration. Call or visit thisistheplace.org. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looks like that wind warning will stick around through noon today. Today's high should be 56 degrees, mostly sunny, up to 57 tomorrow, all the way to 65 by midweek next week. Right now, we have 36 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 6 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Amanda Dixon. Tim has the day off. KSL's top story this hour, winds are still strong along the Wasatch Front. They haven't caused a ton of problems, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. KSL News Radio's Adam Small begins our live team coverage, severe Utah weather near the mouth of Farmington Canyon. Adam?
Amanda, as I've been driving around Farmington this morning in this area that's so prone to seeing huge wind gusts being here at the mouth of this canyon, I'm glad so far as I've been driving around both sides of town, I'm not seeing really anyone out of power. Of course, there are a lot of lights out, but of course, it's very early in the morning. Most people are still in bed, but there are still exterior lights on around the mall. Everything looks on. Lagoon is looking good. The only things I've really been seeing in terms of, damage or things being blown around, there's some trash cans that I've been seeing where people didn't take them in on time. They got knocked over, but I'm not really seeing them fly away. There's some on Main Street, there's a lot of trees on both sides of the road, so there's some twigs down in the road, so maybe just keep an eye out if you're driving on the surface streets. But one thing I would caution people, if you do drive through this area on surface street levels, there are a lot of new roads being built, especially on the west side of Farmington. I've been seeing a lot of the construction signs marking road closures. A lot of those are blown over, so just be careful you're watching closely that you're not driving into a construction zone or anything like that. So far, the National Weather Service here overnight said we got a wind gust of 67 miles an hour along Park Lane. Brigham City actually got one stronger at 70 miles an hour. And while we're starting to see these winds on the downturn, they are going to continue into this afternoon before they start to die down more. So just brace yourselves and be careful driving. Reporting live in Farmington, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
KSL TV's Andrew Adams was out overnight checking on neighborhoods in Farmington, and he continues our team coverage, severe Utah weather.
These winds are intense, and yes, they have caused some damage. It really started looking like pandemonium here again after 8 o'clock. Other street signs rattling, and again, gusts capable of pushing somebody around, or actually in our photographer's case, blowing him right back into the gas station as he was trying to leave. Just this blowing right here gives you an idea of the wind speed. It is blowing hard, and if you head outside, literally hold on to your hat. I've had to do that, otherwise you get crazy hat hair right now. And also keep in mind, if you see power lines down, Rocky Mountain Power has crews out all night just to address the issue. They remind people, don't get close to them if you see them down, but definitely report them. They want to take care of them.
Southern and central Utah are not as windy, but they're getting a storm of their own today. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with details. Peter?
Amanda, those national parks might be tough to get to today and tomorrow, according to National Weather Service forecaster Hayden Mahan.
Capitol Reef or areas around Escalante or Lake Powell, especially if you're having to go over mountain passes.
Mahan says between 1 foot and 4 feet of snow could be falling in the upper elevations in southern Utah today. But he says Zion is getting an easier treatment.
Really, we're not expecting too much rain, maybe a quarter of an inch of rain in Zion.
The storm will hover over south and central Utah into next week, but you might be able to take off the poncho come Sunday. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Bad weather is hitting roads all the way to Wyoming. KSL traffic reporter Heather Kelly has an update. Heather?
Well, if you are traveling eastbound I-80 into Wyoming, you're going to be stopped at Rawlins. I-80 is shut down between Rawlins and Cheyenne. And even before you get there, I-80 is just covered in ice and blowing snow. And so Wyoming officials are saying that it is dangerous, need to find alternate routes. The problem is many of the other state roads are also closed. And even if they're not, 85% of Wyoming's roadways are marked as dangerous and travel delays and to use caution. Live, Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Powerful Santa Ana winds have been battering parts of Southern California. Tish Colburn lives in Pasadena.
It happens, the trees come down, branches come down, but that's what happens. Not much you can do about it. Except trim your trees, and you keep them pruned.
They've been dealing with winds there of about 65 miles an hour. Multiple tornadoes have also been reported. Bob McCoy is the mayor of Winchester, Indiana, and his family had to hunker down when a tornado went through his neighborhood.
We need to really wait to really see what the true damage is, but we're going to continue to kind of work and try to find people.
We have tornado reports from Texas to Ohio, and 2 deaths have been reported. First look traffic now on a Friday morning, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
So far, the wind hasn't had an effect on the drive in the Salt Lake Valley as far as causing any crashes. There's no restrictions in effect like sometimes they'll put on I-80 out in the West Desert, but you'll definitely feel it in the higher profile vehicles as you drive north and south this morning. At this point, though, speed-wise, you should be able to get or stay pretty close to the speed limit both directions. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
St. George will be getting a little more connected. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit is live with why, Michael?
Amanda, if you've ever been to St. George, you've probably noticed there's only a handful of roads connecting the city's east and west sides. Well, now, thanks to an $86 million grant from UDOT, 2 underpasses towards the middle of the town will be built beneath I-15. One will be on 400 East, the other at 900 South. Not only will it make both sides of the freeway a little more accessible, but UDOT's hoping it'll ease traffic so they can widen the freeway going through the city. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Expect some road closures this weekend in South Jordan. Crews will be working on Bangerter Highway and 9800 South. UDOT says both lanes will be closed overnight while crews remove a pedestrian bridge. They'll shut down around 11 o'clock tonight and will reopen by tomorrow morning. Expect on and off delays throughout the weekend. Utah could be changing the way it funds education. KSL News Radio's Claire Scott reports.
The Utah Education Association has voted unanimously to oppose the November ballot measure seeking to take the state income tax fund, currently set aside for education, and open it up for other uses. If passed, this measure would change the Utah Constitution in order to get rid of the food tax. The UEA says they did not make this decision lightly, but have to stand firm in their commitment to public education.
The UEA said they will continue to work closely with legislatures to bring Utah children the education they deserve, but Utah's largest teachers union is having none of it. A bizarre scene at a major tennis tournament was seen in Southern California. Thousands of bees swarmed the court at the Indian Wells Open yesterday. ABC's Lionel Moise has more.
Ladies and gentlemen, they suspended due to bee invasion.
The bees stinging the second-ranked player in the world, Carlos Alcaraz, on the head as they swarmed the camera above the court. The queen bee apparently taking up residence on the camera.
If the queen's there, they will follow that thing.
The sting Carlos Alcaraz suffered did not slow him down.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit afraid of the bees.
He went on to easily beat his opponent.
One man used a vacuum hose to suck up the bees before play was resumed. All right, coming up in just a moment, we'll take another look at your commute. Good movement this morning on I-15, 215, I-80, all look clear. We'll check it, traffic and weather together, coming up next.
Bigger stories demand more accountability, more experience, more trust.
If it's like an election day or we're expecting some bad weather, KSL presents the story. Unbiased. It's a good local source.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
The Utah RV Palooza is back and packed with new and used RVs to fit every budget. March 21st through the 24th, come to the only free RV show in the area at the Mountain America Expo Center. Shop travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, truck campers, and more. You'll find monthly payments starting under $149 per month on approved credit for select new RVs, like a new 2024 GoPlay 19BH travel trailer. You'll also find huge savings on used motorhomes. We've got select 2023 and 2024 low mileage models from Thor and Jayco heavily discounted. The best deals don't last, so start shopping now at UtahRVPalooza.com and make sure to tour the full lineup of GoPlay travel trailers, one of the fastest growing RV brands in Utah. Get special financing options like 0 payments until June OAC, as well as clearance pricing on all remaining new 2023s. And unlike other shows, free admission. Don't miss the Utah RV Palooza. 4 days only, Thursday, March 21st through Sunday, March 24th at the Mountain America Expo Center. See you there. Stock number L75171. Based on 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're just joining us this morning, we don't have too much damage reported from the winds overnight, but we're not out of the woods yet. That wind warning still in effect through noon today. Right now, 6:09, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, so far, other than the wind, it's been a typical Friday morning with light patterns on the roads, which means not much traffic and excellent speeds between Draper and Salt Lake on I-15. It's not seeing any, it's a little bit heavy at a couple of intersections going through South Jordan on Redwood Road. Bangor, all clear all the way up from South Jordan to the airport. Heather?
It's much the same up north. We're seeing a little bit of heavy traffic on some of the city streets, like Washington Boulevard in Ogden, right around 30th Street. Also, for people trying to get onto I-15 at both 31st and 12th Streets. Once you hop on I-15, though, you've got really good speeds. No accidents reported northbound or southbound between the Idaho border and downtown Salt Lake. Eric.
From Provo to Lehigh, I-15 looking fine in Utah County. You got dry roads and normal movement, 20 minutes from University Avenue up to the county line. If you're heading out through Provo Canyon, 189 looks good, and I-80 through Parley's Canyon. We're not seeing any difficulty as far as crashes. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, branch you know at prices you'll love. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're looking at partly cloudy skies today with some winds out of the east, mainly north of Salt Lake City, high of 56. Overnight, we'll likely keep the winds around 35 the low. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 57, up to 60 by Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, it's 35 degrees downtown on the same day that we heard from Chuck Schumer calling for Benjamin Netanyahu to step aside. We learned that Israel bombed a warehouse full of food and medical supplies in Rafah. We're going to learn more about that just ahead on KSL, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A fiduciary has the regulatory obligation to put your best interest first. Trajan Wealth is a financial fiduciary for your investments. With Trajan Wealth, the more you make, the more we make. Our interests are aligned. Most other financial advisors are brokers held to a lesser standard and are paid an upfront commission to sell you something. Call Trajan Wealth 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
I like daffodils, tulips, the big dinner plate dahlias. I loved being in the garden, but I wasn't going to be able to because I couldn't not only walk, but I couldn't really stand on my foot without being in pain. It was excruciating. So my husband said, let's go to the Good Feet store.
For over 20 years, we've helped people like Terry live the life they love without letting their feet get in the way.
This nice young man said, I think I can help you. He got the arch support, and I was fitted. And I kept walking back and forth across the store, and I looked at my husband and burst into tears because it was the first time in a year that I have not had any pain in my foot. I have had no pain since the day I bought them. Now I can do whatever I want. There isn't any place on my property that doesn't have flowers blooming 365 days a year. I still can't believe it. My name is Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Stop by the Good Feet store in Farmington, Riverton, or Sandy for a free fitting. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
KSL News Time, 6:14. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
strong winds are still blowing through the Wasatch Front right now, and they're expected to continue into this afternoon. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, 30-year fixed mortgage rates fell under 7% across the nation for the first time in a month. Demand is starting to grow despite a lack of inventory. Third, traffic and weather together.
Speeds on the freeways have still been good this morning despite some windy conditions, at least between Ogden and Salt Lake. Going into Parley's Canyon, you're fine. If you're coming from Park City, you might slow it a little bit near the top of the summit. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Windy again today with partly cloudy skies. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's 35 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. And time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Today could be decision day in Georgia, where the judge overseeing the election interference case against former President Trump and 18 others is expected to decide whether to boot DA Fani Willis over a romantic relationship with a member of her team. ABC's Aaron Katersky is in Atlanta with details.
Defense attorneys claimed Willis hired Nathan Wade so he could afford to take her on vacations, something she denied.
I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan.
Willis said her romance with Wade did not begin until after she hired him. Defense attorneys accused her of lying.
Thursday, the judge overseeing the classified documents case denied Trump's request to dismiss the charges. Parents of a school shooter faced decades in prison. James Crumley was convicted of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter Thursday, weeks after his wife got the same verdict. Their son killed 4 students in Oxford, Michigan in 2021. After the verdict, Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald said
they could have prevented this shooting and saved these kids' lives and protected the hundreds of kids in the school that day and all of the members of the Oxford community that it devastated.
3 people are now confirmed dead in Logan County, Ohio, as powerful storms, including reported tornadoes, move through the Midwest. A dozen people taken to hospitals in Winchester, Indiana, where State Police Superintendent Doug Carter said,
"We don't know the extent of the damage on the south end of town. We do know that there have been some buildings and homes that have been completely destroyed."
The first ship using a new sea route to Gaza is approaching the territory with 200 tons of aid. You're listening to ABC News.
National Security spokesman John Kirby says the White House is very concerned about an Israeli bombing of an aid warehouse in Rafah. Joining me live from Washington is ABC News correspondent Jay O'Brien. What happened there, Jay?
Yeah, so this is Rafah, remember, a city in the southern portion of Gaza. It's where a number of Palestinians have fled to seek refuge amid that ongoing Israeli bombing campaign. Now, what the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, say is that this was a targeted strike on a Hamas commander. But the UN says that in addition to that Hamas commander, there were other casualties, including 22 civilians who were wounded. And so the U.S. is reiterating that it is concerned about that strike. It wants an investigation. And it goes back to this broader theme we've seen play out for the last few weeks, really. which is this fine line that the White House is having to walk with Israel, saying that Israel has a right to defend itself and to go after Hamas commanders, while in addition telling Israel to protect and value and protect humanitarian or civilian life, and so that is, again, the fine line that the White House has been having to walk, and frankly, one that they've had to continue to reiterate to the Israelis for weeks now.
Did John Kirby say anything about what Chuck Schumer said?
So Kirby has said the White House's general position on what Chuck Schumer said is that they're not really taking a position, I guess is the best way to sum up what Kirby said and what other White House officials have said. Now, what we've seen in Israel is that Chuck Schumer's comments have landed like a thud. There has been a lot of Israeli members of, for instance, Benjamin Netanyahu's party who have taken significant issue with Schumer's comments. Republicans on Capitol Hill have said that what Schumer said was out of place, and it is not for him to weigh in on the need for Israeli leadership and a change of Israeli leadership. The White House is trying to appease the top Democrat in the Senate, right, while also not trying to rile relationships with the Israelis, while the president's point of view is that his relationship with Netanyahu, despite the fact that it is seriously frayed at times, is the best chance, the White House would say, to try to make sure that civilians in Gaza are protected, that personal one-on-one connection that the president does have with the Israeli leader.
So this bombing took out a warehouse of aid. Is aid getting into Gaza, food and medical supplies?
So it's tough to get aid into Gaza. It's very tough. Now, what the U.S. has planned to do is to try to mount they're airdropping that aid, as you've seen the videos of. That's a drop in the bucket, right? It's very difficult to meet the need with the current structure of just airdropping aid in. So what the U.S. has planned to do, as you heard the president announce, as you'll recall during the State of the Union, was to do this maritime aid operation. They've got to build a floating dock on the Gaza coast to try to bring aid by sea. That operation is ongoing, but that dock is not up and running yet.
We'll follow it with your help, Jay. Thank you. ABC News correspondent Jay O'Brien with me from Washington on the In-Depth at 15:45. 6:19 now. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, traffic is still clear on I-15. No delay spots yet from coming from Point of the Mountain and over Bluffdale all the way to Salt Lake City. It's a little bit heavy now on Bangerter at the 47th and 3500 South intersections. Mountain View, though, clear of delays, whether you're going south to Harriman or north towards West Valley right now. Heather?
Traffic continues to fill in southbound I-15 from Ogden to Salt Lake, but it is Friday, which means lighter than normal traffic compared to a Monday through Thursday. So everybody's still traveling at freeway speeds. You also have a good drive if you're taking Legacy Parkway in the West Side Belt getting to the airport, and city streets are getting a little bit busy in Ogden and Clearfield. Eric?
We got good movement along the 215 East Belt if you're heading north from Cottonwood Heights up past Holiday Mill Creek all the way up to Foothill Drive. Foothill also in good shape going up towards the University of Utah. Along the Wasatch Bank, no problems on US 40 this morning northbound out of Heber City. No difficulties with the road conditions today. Utah's largest sportsman's expo for the entire family is back March 21st through the 24th at the Mountain America Expo Center. More info at sportsexpos.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast looking at a high of 56 today, partly cloudy skies and some pesky east winds north of Salt Lake City. 57 mostly sunny tomorrow, a little bit breezy. Less wind on Sunday, partly cloudy, 60 degrees. Here comes high pressure, sunny skies on Monday, 62 up to 64. Very spring-like for your Tuesday sunny skies. We'll keep it in the mid-60s as we work through middle of next week with more clouds. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 35 degrees downtown, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. I was just looking at Yahoo News. They did a poll to ask voters what their emotion is regarding the rematch this fall between President Biden and former President Trump. And the number one response was dread. 40% of respondents said dread. 29% said exhaustion, and 21% said depression. Oh, no. Man. Yeah, I understand, though, don't you? I totally get it. Completely. But we have to, we're all where we are, and we'll follow it here on KSL News Radio. Up next, we're going to take a look at money news. Last time we checked, the futures were headed north. They were in the green, and we'll see if they're still there. Just ahead on KSL News Radio.
When the weather warms up, it's like a stampede, except instead of dust stirred up by hundreds of hooves, it's a cascade of phone calls to Advanced Window Products. This is Jeff Kaplan. Soon as the sun shines and the snow's gone, people want new windows and frames from Utah's #1 custom window maker, and the wait for installation grows longer. But right now, you can get near the front of the line by calling for a quote and get $2,500 off when you purchase 10 windows or more. That's on top of the incredible savings for the highest quality double-pane windows and frames, any style, any color. See, at Advanced Window Products, they actually build the windows here in Utah, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. There's no middleman, and they can pass the savings on to you. They even offer buy now, pay later. So get in before the wait grows longer and get the $2,500 off. Get your new windows this spring. Make the call. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100. Or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Celebrate the arrival of spring with Bullfrog Spas. It's time to welcome back warm weather during Bullfrog Spa's Factory Store Spring Sale with huge savings on new hot tubs and swim spas featuring Bullfrog Spa's exclusive Jetpack Therapy System with personalized massage features created just for you. Hurry in. Our Factory Store Spring Sale is happening now. Save up to $3,500 off MSRP with special 24-month financing and a free spa audio system worth up to $1,600.
Bullfrog Spas. Peaceful body, peaceful mind, peaceful home.
A lot of you already know that when it comes to HVAC maintenance, repair, and replacement, no one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services. And if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner, this ad's for you. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and right now we're having our most popular sale of the year. Here's how it works. When you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it, about $400. The furnace is free. You just pay the labor. One of the reasons this sale is so popular, there are no gimmicks, like you have to buy our most expensive air conditioner to qualify for a free furnace. You could buy our most basic, least expensive air conditioner, and you'd still get a new furnace for just the cost to install it. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services by March 31st and schedule a free estimate. One of our HVAC supervisors will come to your home and explain everything. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Airlines are hoping for a better day after nearly 1,000 flights were canceled because of the severe weather yesterday. Did that impact any of you? Were you delayed because of that? The most delays, I guess, were in Denver, where they're getting a lot of snow. Disney is hoping to see a surge of subscribers today as they launch the streaming version of Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour. Oh, I'll be watching that. States with the lottery are seeing a lot of tickets sold. Tonight's Mega Millions is at $792 million. Tomorrow night's Powerball jackpot is at $600 million. All right, let's get a look at the futures markets. Your money at this moment. Dow futures are up 55. That's over 0.1%. S&P futures up 3, just a fraction. The NASDAQ futures are down 16.5, which is less than 0.1%. Crude oil is down 67 cents, but we're still over $80 a barrel. $80.59 exactly. All right, from Pleasant Grove to Pleasant View, everything is in good shape on the roads along the Wasatch Front. That's good news on a Friday morning. Happy Friday, everybody. We'll take a look at traffic and weather together coming up next.
Are you stressing about your IRS tax problems? Have you received notices from the IRS threatening to garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, or seize your property? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has tax attorneys and enrolled agents that are ready to fight for you. They have saved millions for taxpayers just like you. Allies Tax Relief can help put a stop to IRS collections and, most importantly, negotiate your tax debt. Here's Brenda, a happy client of Allies Tax Relief.
I owed the IRS around $57,000, and they're about to start garnishing my paychecks. I heard a commercial on the radio about Allies Tax Relief, so I thought I'd give them a call. After a day, they were able to at least stop the garnishments, and after a few months of negotiations, I walked away owing the IRS only $301.
If you owe the IRS, call Allies Tax Relief right now for your free consultation. Call 800-230-5174. 800-230-5174. That's 800-230-5174.
Jeff Kaplan. When you're online, that's sometimes a source of fourth-hand information. Somebody does the reporting. Another website Googles, they find it, they rewrite it, and by the time you read it, you know the old game telephone. But KSL is a source of prime primary information. We have reporters on the street. They're out in the field finding out the details. And the difference between online and KSL News Radio, night and day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Shh, shh. Do you hear that? Tick tock. That's the sound of time running out on the TikTok app. Or maybe it's the sound of your kids getting off their phones and going outside to feel grass. Or maybe they just find a new app to obsess over. Get updates on the fate of TikTok and your kids' future screen time this week on KSL News Radio.
That's funny. 629 traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Back to you, Andy.
Traffic getting a bit heavier on 21st South out in Magna, especially at the 8400 West stretch going over towards 7200. Looks good on I-15 through the valley this morning. Tooele County, yet to see any slowdowns on SR 36 other than maybe right before you merge onto I-80 and Lake Point. Heather?
Most of the congestion I'm seeing right now in Weber and Davis County are some of the city streets. It's at larger intersections like SR 193 and Main Street, as well as on Washington Boulevard at 30th Street. I-15, US 89, I-84, they're all still running at speed, but you still have quite a bit of windy conditions that could buffet you around a bit. Eric?
Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs drivers, head over to the freeway now. We don't have any problems on Pioneer Crossing, Lehigh's Main Street, or 2100 North for eastbounders. Northbound Redwood Road also looking good. And I-15 throughout Utah County also in good shape. Lagoon is looking for ride maintenance technicians. Lagoon offers excellent mechanical training programs with amazing career opportunities. Ride maintenance technician position is full-time and year-round. Details visit lagoonpark.com/jobs. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
All right, let's get a look at that forecast. Are you tired of the wind yet? I guess that wind advisory expires about noon today, so we'll still see some winds, particularly up north, until noon. But mostly sunny is the forecast for today. 56 for a high. We get a little warmer tomorrow, 57. On Sunday, we're up to 60 degrees, and then it's nothing but sunshine for the beginning of next week. 62 Monday, 64 on Tuesday, our high in the next 7 days. Wednesday and Thursday, we get to 65. And just the long-range forecast, the next chance of rain looks like Thursday of next week right now. Although, of course, we'll update those forecasts for you every day between now and then. Right now, it is 36 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 6:30. Tim has the day off. KSL's top story this hour. Winds are still strong this morning. It could take some time before they calm down. KSL News Radio's Adam Small begins our live team coverage. Severe Utah weather. He's in Farmington. Adam?
Amanda here, just along Park Lane in Farmington overnight. We clocked a gust of 67 miles an hour. Brigham City along I-15 saw a gust of 70 miles an hour. But we might have lucked out a little bit. Earlier forecasts were predicting gusts here were more going to be pushing potentially 80, even 85 miles an hour, but it has not gone that way. I spoke with the National Weather Service this morning, who told me that this easterly flow of winds that we're getting actually trended a little further south than we thought. So thankfully the gusts have been a little bit weaker than we thought they were going to be. And in turn, as I've been driving around both the east and west sides of Farmington today, I've been seeing very little, if any, damage, just a couple maybe trash cans blown over, construction signs blown down, some twigs on one along Main Street. But other than that, things are looking good here. We are going to continue to see these winds through this morning. By this afternoon, they're going to start to die down a little more, but they could continue into tomorrow, where it's at least going to be breezy, not necessarily as strong as it is now, but get used to the wind for probably at least another 24 hours or so, potentially a little longer than that. But again, we will see these winds die down gradually as we work through the day. Live in Farmington, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
There are some neighbors who are cleaning up from the damage of the gusty winds that blew through yesterday. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson reports.
Neighbor Enrique Sanchez was out late afternoon yesterday working with the chainsaw, clearing out limb and tree debris from gusts up to and exceeding 65 miles an hour. Winds should blow out of here early afternoon today. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
The worst of the windstorm might be behind us, but Utah's Director of Public Safety still has some words of advice. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more. Peter?
Amanda, these winds can pose a real risk of tipping to high-profile vehicles, according to Utah Department of Public Safety Commissioner Jess Anderson.
We see it all too often. particularly semis or other high-profile trailers, camp trailers and such.
Anderson says to be careful, and he tells KSL at Night that the department sometimes shuts down the road to RVs and semis when the winds get this bad. Those winds will be dying down, though, this morning, and Anderson says around now is a safer time to head outside.
And like I said, we anticipate and expect much lighter winds come daylight.
Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. President Biden is traveling to states critical to this year's general election, while former President Trump is focusing on his multiple trials.
In New York, the district attorney's office now offering to delay Trump's criminal hush money trial set to start in 2 weeks. They say they just received thousands of documents from the Justice Department and want to give Trump's legal team time to review them.
ABC's M. Wynn reporting. The numbers are finalized, and the Utah Republican Party says former President Trump secured over half of the votes. He got 56.4% of voter support here in Utah, but it was close. Nikki Haley got 42.7%. Former President Trump is the official Republican Party nominee. First Look Traffic now takes us back over to you, Andy.
Amanda, traffic on I-15 is still holding up really well this morning into and out of Salt Lake. We've got a bit of heavy traffic in a few spots, some in Salt Lake City on 300 West. Looks like some on Washington Boulevard around 26th Street, and just random spots here and there, but pretty light despite some winds this morning. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mortgage rates are falling across the nation, back under 7% for the first time since mid-February. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Gurr has more.
The 30-year fixed mortgage rate has dropped to 6.84%, according to data from the Mortgage Bankers Association. This is the lowest the rates have been since mid-February. The data shows the mortgage rate drop has increased buyer demand by nearly 5% since the beginning of March, although supply is still coming up short as homeowners are reluctant to put their homes on the market.
Here in Utah, local realtors expect rates to fall into the lower 6 or even 5% range, where the market will largely open up for both buyers and sellers. 75% of the counties in Utah saw growth this year. The latest data from the Census Bureau shows Utah's population grew by 36,000 people between July of 2022 and 2023. A large chunk of that growth is from Utah County, but the most populated county is Salt Lake with 1.2 million residents. The CEO of the Utah Food Bank tells KSL News Radio to take care of all the Utahns in need, they would need 46 million more pounds of food than they did last year.
The need is really starting to escalate. There's always been an element of concern, but now as we see those numbers continuing to grow, now we have to do things just like this on Saturday to help us be prepared.
Jeanette Bott says they handed out 60 million pounds of food last year, and now the donations that came in over the holidays are beginning to run out. Tomorrow, volunteers will be going door to door collecting bags of food from people's porches for the Feed Utah food drive.
Food, time, or money. Those are the three things we need.
Don Brinker-Huff, KSL News Radio.
Just put those non-perishables out before 9 a.m. for them to be collected. The water level in the southern arm of the Great Salt Lake is already high. It was during the record runoff last spring, or as high as it was during the record runoff last spring. And we haven't even brought down our snowpack yet. The Great Salt Lake Collaborative says that won't impact plans already in place to try and get additional water into the lake throughout the year. Rising water levels have forced part of the Jordan River Trail to close. The section going under 7800 South is shut down for now. The rising water levels are also causing concern for homeowners nearby. The increased flow is due to water releases from Utah Lake. City leaders are asking all trail users to be careful along the shoreline and stay out of closed areas. Coming up, we'll get another check on the Friday morning commute. No major delays to report. That's good news. Traffic and weather together coming up next.
Spend your workday with a talk show that makes you feel better about the news.
Dave and Dujanovic.
They have a good dynamic between the two of them.
Sometimes I'll take Dave's side and sometimes I'll take Debbie's side.
They're great.
Dave and Debbie, live from 9 to noon, or podcast the show on the app for KSL News Radio.
Hercules Credit Union presents Ultimate ID Plus, your ultimate defense against identity theft. Powered by Identity Force, the #1 rated identity theft protection provider for consumers. With Ultimate ID Plus, there's daily 3 bureau credit monitoring. They've got your back 24/7, monitoring your credit across all 3 major bureaus. No surprises, just peace of mind. Score Tracker, stay on top of your credit score effortlessly. Fully managed restoration. If the worst happens, their team of experts steps in. Remediation and recovery services. Not just about prevention, it's about action. And dark web monitoring. patrolling the shadowy corners of the internet, safeguarding your personal information. Ultimate ID Plus isn't just a shield, it's your recovery advocate. Get ahead of identity thieves today. Remember, at Hercules Credit Union, your security is their priority. Ultimate ID Plus, because your peace of mind matters. Learn more at HerculesCU.com.
Hi there, it's Congressman Blake Moore. My team and I are working hard to advance your priorities in Congress, from addressing federal budget reform on the House Budget Committee to pushing a bipartisan pro-family tax package on the House Ways and Means Committee. We've also enjoyed engaging with you at our recent in-person town halls and staff mobile office hours as we hear your questions, priorities, and concerns. I want to update you all on the things that we are working on and take your questions. So be sure to join my telephone town hall on Wednesday, March 20th at 1 p.m. by dialing 833-305-1678. That's Wednesday, March 20th at 1 p.m. at 833-305-1678. Visit my website at blakemore.house.gov and follow me on social media at Rep. Blake Moore for details. I look forward to hearing from you then. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
I guess we did have some tree limbs come down, a little bit of debris that folks were cleaning up from in the northern part of the state. That wind warning doesn't expire until noon today, so we'll keep following it. 6:39 right now. Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, traffic on I-15 still clear from Draper to downtown. Bit heavy on the 201 freeway around 7200 west. We got a crash at the top of Victory Road right at 500 North, right on the backside of the Capitol if you're coming up from Victory Road. It's affecting both north and southbound directions. Heather?
No delays and no accidents reported through Weber and Davis County, and you still have good speeds with fairly light traffic southbound I-15 from Ogden to Salt Lake. That's less than 30 minutes. US 89 and I-84 also traveling at speed, even though traffic is filling in on many of the roadways. Eric?
And you've got a good movement over on I-15 Utah County. It's a 24-minute drive from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain. State Street getting a little bit more congested as you head from Linden over into Pleasant Grove, right at the intersection that's where Geneva Road ends up at in Pleasant Grove. If you're out in Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs, no major problems so far this morning, northbound on Redwood Road or eastbound over to I-15. Don't miss the Bedrock Quartz bonus cash event. Get 11% same as cash allowance or 12 months 0% financing on any purchase over $3,000. Including countertop sinks and more. Visit bedrockquartz.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
East winds continue for the northern Wasatch Front. Look for highs in the mid-50s today, partly cloudy skies. We'll likely see a lull in the winds this afternoon, then ramping back up tonight. For tomorrow, 57, a little bit breezy, dry skies, up to 60 by Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, it's 36 degrees downtown. Chuck Schumer is taking a lot of heat from both sides of the aisle for what he said yesterday from the Senate floor, where he said Benjamin Netanyahu needs to step aside, that he has lost his way. We'll go in depth on that in a moment on KSL, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app. You can listen to us on the app for KSL News Radio anytime. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. Time now for Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
Have you ever been hungry IF? For the unfamiliar, IF is a form of dieting called intermittent fasting. The basic version is to fast for 16 hours every day. Eat the food during the other 8 hours. Pretty simple to follow. Push yourself away from the table at 6:30 after dinner. Your next morsel of food will be at 10:30 a.m. IF became popular thanks to a BBC documentary called Eat, Fast, Live Longer.
How good is the evidence that if someone like me were to start on intermittent fasting, it would cut my risk of brain disease broadly?
If we go on a scale from poor to good to very good to excellent to outstanding, it's in the very good to excellent range.
That's Professor Mark Mattson, who hasn't had breakfast in 30 years. This Johns Hopkins neuroscience professor says it makes him more productive in the morning because of basic human physiology. Imagine a caveman. He awakens with a rumble in his belly, a spear in his hand, and a need to eat. As he goes about the hunt, Triceratops and the Velociraptor roam the plains. By the way, I just read the Velociraptor was actually the size of a chicken. And cavemen never lived at the same time as dinosaurs, but I digress. Hungry cavemen had to focus hard in order to catch their next meal, and Dr. Mattson, remember him? Dr. Mattson claims he's more focused in his 15th and 16th hours of fasting. Plus, his research at the National Institute of Aging suggests you'll live longer and better with IF. On the other hand, a study of 3,000 people from the University of Toronto links intermittent fasting to binge eating in that 17th hour. Some people are hungry enough to eat a velociraptor, or maybe a chicken sandwich. Same diff.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
Have you ever done that, the intermittent fasting? I'm curious about that. I wonder what that feels like. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you if you want to share your experience. My text number is 57500. And the Minute of News is brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox. IRS harassing you? The law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, it's never good news.
My name is Jim. So I went through a difficult time with a divorce. Then the economy crashed. I was out of work. Combination of the way that my ex-wife was filing the tax returns caused mine to get rejected, and I found myself in a difficult situation that I didn't know how to get out of.
Don't face the IRS alone. With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone.
I could not believe that it was even possible. I had hoped for something, never dreamt in my wildest dreams he would get what he got.
You need someone to fight for you.
We owed $80,300 and something, and I paid $1,000.
Visit taxhelput.com and get relief today. Let's solve your tax problems now. Visit taxhelput.com.
It was incredible. Do yourself a favor. Call Jordan Wilcox.
That's taxhelput.com.
KSL News Time is 6:44. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
strap your patio items down and stay inside while the storm dies down. That's the safety advice from the head of Utah's Department of Public Safety. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, expect some road closures overnight in South Jordan. Crews will be working on Bangerter Highway and 9800 South. Third, traffic and weather together.
Delays increasing a bit on Bangerter at 3500 South. We've got a crash in Tooele City on Main Street, about 1300 North. And we've got a crash on Victory Road right behind on the north side of the Capitol. That's blocking a good chunk of the intersection. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking at some wind to start the weekend, but some nice temperatures next week. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 37 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. The judge overseeing the election interference case against former President Trump and 18 others is expected to decide today whether the district attorney, Fani Willis, can stay on the case. ABC's Aaron Katursky has more from Atlanta.
Defense attorneys claimed Willis hired Nathan Wade so he could afford to take her on vacations, something she denied.
I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan.
Willis said her romance with Wade did not begin until after she hired him. Defense attorneys accused her of lying.
3 people are now confirmed dead in Logan County, Ohio, after severe weather and powerful storms that moved through the Midwest. 12 people in Indiana were taken to hospitals. It's the first of 3 days of voting in Russia, where Vladimir Putin's crushed dissent. He's expected to receive another 6-year term as president. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials say a Russian missile strike on Odessa killed at least 14 people, and the first ship using a sea route to Gaza to bring aid is approaching the territory. This is ABC News.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is facing backlash from people on both sides of the political aisle after calling for Israel to hold a new election and oust their prime minister. We go in depth with America in the Morning's Sagar Maghani.
This is not only highly inappropriate, it's just plain wrong. For an American leader to play such a divisive role in Israeli politics while our closest ally in the region is in an existential battle for its very survival.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is an obstacle to peace, and the Israeli people should get to elect a new leader.
I believe a new election is the only way to allow for a healthy and open decision-making process about the future of Israel. At a time when so many Israelis have lost their confidence in the vision and direction of their government.
In an unusually direct appeal, Schumer called for new elections in Israel, saying Netanyahu has lost his way.
The Netanyahu coalition no longer fits the needs of Israel after October 7th. The world has changed radically since then, and the Israeli people are being stifled right now by a governing vision that is stuck in the past.
It is grotesque and hypocritical for Americans who hyperventilate about foreign interference in our own democracy to call for the removal of a democratically elected leader of Israel.
Senate GOP counterpart Mitch McConnell immediately responded.
Israel is not a colony of America.
And says the U.S. can either respect Israel's decisions or disrespect its democracy at the White House and State Department.
We know Leader Schumer feels strongly about this. I'm certainly let him speak to it and to his comments.
These are statements made by Senator Schumer, not by the Biden administration.
Okay. Spokesman John Kirby and Matthew Miller tried to stay out of it, noting the administration's focused on making sure Israel can both protect itself and Gaza's civilians. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
And that's the In-Depth at 15 and 45. 6:49 now. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Takes us back to you, Andy.
Amanda, I-15 still clear of delays. Draper to downtown. Fire engine that was blocking a good chunk of the intersection at Victory Road and 500 North in Salt Lake City is gone, but there's still some northbound backup right next to the Capitol building. Traffic out on the west side a little bit slow. Northbound Bangerter at 3500 South. And in Tooele County, there's a crash just north of the 1280 North intersection on Main Street in Tooele, but don't see any big delays by it. Heather?
No accidents reported in Weber-Davis County. We still have a bit of wind that'll blow you around the freeways a little bit, especially on US 89 in Davis County as you approach the mouth of Weber Canyon. Other than that, you're going to have a really nice drive. The roads are dry, and you don't have any problems on Legacy Parkway, the West Side Belt, or I-84. Eric?
We have had one crash out in Utah County, but this is on Highway 6 about 15 miles. If you're westbound, about 15 miles before you get to the mouth of Spanish Fork Canyon. Otherwise, everything is looking pretty clean down south. Northbound from Spanish Fork to Point of the Mountain on I-15, that's a typical 24-minute drive. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Keep the hairspray handy if you live north of Salt Lake City. Pesky east winds continue with a high of 56 and partly cloudy skies. Mostly sunny tomorrow, less wind. We'll call it breezy. Partly cloudy, 60 degrees on Sunday, and high pressure on the move for Utah. Monday, 62. Tuesday, 64. Up to 65 for Wednesday and Thursday, with mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 37 degrees downtown, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. I smell popcorn. Somebody's making popcorn in the newsroom. It smells like a theater in here. That's a powerful scent. I have a son who works at Cinemark Theaters, and he'll sometimes come home and bring popcorn home. That's dangerous. We were just talking about intermittent fasting. I have a very hard time fasting when there is popcorn around. Thank you for your text that said, my best friend has been very consistent and successful losing weight and getting back into his shape in his mid-50s with intermittent fasting. That is really interesting that you can go for, 12 to 16 hours, is that what it is, in between? So you have a long break of no food, which gives your pancreas a rest. You know, that much I understand. I appreciate your sharing that with me. You can text me anytime or let me know. Is it still windy where you are? Are you getting any winds this morning? I did have a text earlier that in Benjamin, Utah, they had some breezy winds, but nothing too strong up there. So text me anytime at the 57500 number, as long as it's safe for you to do so. And we'll get a look at money news just ahead.
Gillette Heating and Air Conditioning is offering furnace maintenance for 30% off. Call 385-GET-HEAT today to take advantage of this limited time offer. Carrier, turn to the experts.
Utah,
It's Toy Hauler Month at all 3 Paris RV locations. We've gathered 3 of our top-selling toy haulers and are blowing them out to you this month for the same price you choose. Get the 2024 XLR Boost, the Open Range 25TH, or the Cherokee 24 RRT. Your choice. $29,995 or $304 per month. That's right. A toy hauler for only $29,995. Go to ParisRV.com.
It's Toy Hauler Madness at Paris RV.
Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores. We're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH. That sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month. Zero down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You may not be interested in everything we talk about, but I guarantee you listen for 3 hours, we're going to hit several things.
Everything from politics to how the economy is impacting your family's pocketbook.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
We're watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The Fed will hold meetings next week to discuss interest rates, but investors are not expecting to see a cut, not yet anyway, after we got those 2 inflation reports this week that were higher than expected. Retail sales did go up in February compared to January, which should impact stocks. This morning, consumer spending makes about 2/3 of the U.S. economic growth. Target will start rolling out express self-checkout lanes, and it'll start this Sunday. The idea is they will strictly enforce the 10-item or less limit. That's interesting. All right, let's get a look now at where we are with the markets. We're about a half hour away from the opening bell, and the futures are mixed right now. The Dow futures are up 41, which is 0.1%. S&P futures up 0.25, just a fraction. The NASDAQ futures are down 25, which is 0.1%. And crude oil, we're talking about inflation, is down 36 cents, but it's still over $80 a barrel. It's at $80.90. All right. Let's see what's going on with the morning commute. Southbound I-15 from Ogden still at normal travel times through Weber and Davis counties, despite some windy conditions. So we'll take a look at that. It was a bummer yesterday, BYU's loss to Texas Tech, but it's not over yet. Nope. Selection Sunday coming up this weekend, and we'll have more March Madness on our air. So look forward to that here on KSL News Radio.
I'm Jason Walton. In business, I mentor hundreds of Utahns as they pursue their American dream. The same dream career politicians treat with contempt. They send our money to our enemies abroad while shortchanging our veterans at home. It's not right. They're letting drug cartels escort criminals and terrorists across our border. It's time to stand up. So I'm running for the United States Senate. Stand with me. I'm Jason Walton, and I approve this message.
Paid for by friends of Jason Walton for Senate.
Tim and Amanda.
I don't want to be in the dark about things. I'm sure you don't either, Tim. I mean, I want to know what's going on with the weather. Are my kids safe? You know, where is my money going? I want to be informed.
Yeah, the truth is, it's important information for you and your families to make sure that you are informed so that if some changes are necessary in your life or your children's life, you can make them by listening and starting your morning with us here on KSL.
Wake up with Utah's Morning News with Tim and Amanda, 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Jeff Kaplan. When I was a kid, my parents got me a subscription to Newsweek magazine. I would devour every page into the night. And to this day, I sit on my iPad looking for stories for my minute of news, flesh out our coverage, and I get to share the news with you.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
6:59 traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon, Andy.
Traffic on I-15 still rolling at the full speed limit, beginning to see more slowing going south on Mountain View down from West Jordan to South Jordan, and on Bangor at 3500 south. Crash in Tooele still on the right shoulder at Main Street and 1280 north in Tooele City. And we've still got vehicles in the intersection of 500 North and Victory Road, but there's more of a northbound delay at the intersection. Heather?
No crashes reported in Weber and Davis County, but we still have plenty of wind, and that is buffeting people around on the roadways, especially high-profile vehicles. So they'll need to use caution, but there aren't any restrictions right now for high-profile vehicles in Weber and Davis counties. You are at good speeds, though. I-15, US 89, Legacy Parkway. Eric?
And if you're in Utah County right now, it is looking pretty good northbound on I-15 coming into the valley through Spanish Fork Canyon on Highway 6, about 15 miles before you get to the mouth of the canyon. We do have a crash there, and that does seem to be causing some eastbound and westbound slowing through that area. Need a perfect event venue? There's a place. This is the place. Heritage Park. Ideal for weddings, events, featuring 11 venues, beautiful grounds, and affordability for any celebration. Call or visit thisistheplace.org. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Thank you to our texters here. Lots of wind in North Ogden, big gusts there, and strong winds all night in Farmington that are still going on. Today's high will be 56 degrees. We get up to 65 by midweek next week. And right now it's 37 downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. It's 7 o'clock on Utah's Morning News. I'm Amanda Dixon. Tim has the day off. KSL's top story on the 7 o'clock report is those winds. They peaked overnight, but they're going to keep howling for the next few hours. KSL News Radio's Adam Small begins our live team coverage, severe Utah weather. He's in Farmington. Adam?
Amanda, they aren't as strong as they were a few hours ago, but these winds are definitely still roaring here along Park Lane near the mouth of Farmington Canyon. But according to National Weather Service senior meteorologist Monica Trapphagen, we might have lucked out a little bit based on the previous forecasts. Trapphagen saying that we clocked 67-mile-an-hour wind gusts here along Park Lane overnight. But that is in comparison to yesterday's forecast where we were expecting 85 miles an hour, so definitely helps out a little bit. I've seen very little, if any, damage, no power outages, anything like that around here. Just some trash cans and construction signs knocked over, things like that. Trapphagen says these winds are going to continue to die down as we work through the day. Live in Farmington, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
We've seen some small pockets of power outages this morning. Rocky Mountain Power reports about 1,000 homes and businesses without power right now, but they're spread out from Ogden to Salt Lake City. KSL TV's Andrew Adams was out in the wind overnight in Farmington. He continues our team coverage, severe Utah weather.
My hat just blew clear over into that field. We actually ran after it, so I'm going to hold on to my hat literally.
I mean, this porta potty's had better days. I mean, there's things blown over all over the place. I was actually going to pick up a piece of sheet metal to show you, but honestly, I could not bring it across the street because the winds were blowing so hard, it kept blowing it out of my hand.
Rocky Mountain Power says if you see a power line down this morning, just stay away from it and please report it. Don't think your ticket out of this windy weather is a trip to southern Utah. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with the reason why. Peter?
Amanda, running to central Utah or the national parks is not the ideal vacation that you think it might be.
Anywhere from 1 to potentially up to close to 4 feet of snow at the highest terrain.
That's National Weather Service forecaster Hayden Mahan talking about places close to Lake Powell and Capitol Reef. He says even lower-lying places like Zion will be getting at least a quarter-inch of rain, but you might find thinner crowds there for that reason. The storm will keep spinning rain and snow into central Utah too today and tomorrow, and some amount of storm will be with us into early next week. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
You can't escape bad weather by heading east either. There are problems in Wyoming. Let's check in with KSL traffic reporter Heather Kelly. Heather?
Well, if you are trying to get to the east side of Wyoming or even into Nebraska, you will be stopped at Rawlins. I-80 is shut down right now, and it's not expected to reopen until 2:30 or somewhere between 2:30 and 4:30 p.m., but that's just for the portion at Rawlins. East of that, there's no estimated time for when I-80 will reopen. Wyoming officials are advising people to take alternate routes. The problem is all those other alternate routes, many of the state roads are still closed as well. And even if they are open, they're saying that it's dangerous road conditions, extreme caution is required, and many travel delays. Live, Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. Severe weather also hitting other parts of the country overnight with tornadoes reported from Texas to Ohio. Bob McCoy is the mayor of Winchester, Indiana, and says he's lucky to be alive this morning after a tornado went through his neighborhood.
It was spooky, and we stayed in the closet. We hunkered down in the closet with the dog.
2 deaths have been confirmed as a result of the tornadoes. You can read more about the tornadoes on KSLNewsRadio.com. In Southern California, several cars were crushed by falling trees. Paget Moranin lives in Pasadena.
I guess it's a good wake-up call for other people to check up on their trees and make sure it doesn't happen to their houses, because heaven forbid anyone get hurt.
Powerful Santa Ana winds are hitting that part of the country. And here in Utah, KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says some of the winds we saw got up around 60 miles an hour.
We'll likely see these winds through the morning and into the afternoon, a bit of a lull in the strength of these east winds. But as we work into the overnight hours, late tonight, early tomorrow morning, we'll see them ramp up to 40, maybe even 50 miles an hour. But I think that the worst of the east winds are likely over with.
The weekend high will get to 60 degrees, and that'll happen actually up to 65 degrees next week. Another issue for a United Airlines flight, this time flying from Dallas to San Francisco on Thursday.
United Airlines tells ABC News Flight 1816 had a hydraulic leak as it was nearing San Francisco as the Airbus A320 with 150 passengers and 5 crew on board landed. Emergency vehicles were standing by. They saw a little bit of smoke around the landing gear. That happens when hydraulic fluid comes in contact with the hot brakes. The plane taxied to the gate. The A320 has 3 independent hydraulic systems. There was another hydraulic issue on a United A320 that landed in L.A. last week. Alex Stone, ABC News.
First look traffic on the 7 o'clock report, and here's Andy Farnsworth.
Well, Amanda, so far I haven't had any crashes on the freeways to slow you down, I-15 or I-80. If you're coming out of Tooele County, SR 201 still clear through the Magna stretch. We had a crash on SR 36 in Tooele City, but it looks like that's cleared. And then the one in the cleanup stages on Victory Road at 500 North, still there, but it's northbound traffic going up past the Capitol on Victory Road that's going to be slow. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Just into the KSL newsroom, a Georgia judge rules District Attorney Fani Willis can remain on the election interference case against former President Trump. The judge did have some harsh words for Willis in the ruling, criticizing her actions and calling her unprofessional for having an intimate relationship with one of the investigators in the case. The next time you're visiting St. George, you may notice the town getting a little more connected. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit explains. Michael?
Amanda, this is thanks to a new $86 million grant from UDOT to the city, and it looks like the town's planning to use it to build 2 crucial underpasses beneath I-15, one at 400 East and another one at 900 South. and this means crossing between the city's east and west side will be a little bit easier for residents or visitors. Now, going along with that, it'll help reduce traffic on I-15 as UDOT prepares to widen the freeway between St. George's major exits. Reporting live, Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Expect some road closures this weekend in South Jordan. Crews will be working on Bangerter Highway and 9800 South. UDOT says both lanes will be closed overnight while crews remove a pedestrian bridge. They'll shut down around 11 tonight and will reopen by tomorrow morning. Expect on and off delays throughout the weekend. Florida police say 2 truck drivers got into a road rage exchange and they shot guns at each other while going down the freeway. No one, amazingly, was injured. Police say the first driver to pull out a gun and start shooting has been arrested. The second driver who returned fire has not yet been charged. The Utah Education Association does not like the plan to change the way education is funded.
The Utah Education Association is taking a stance against the ballot initiative that would open up the state income tax fund to be used for things other than education. UAA President Renee Pinkley says they're thinking of launching a campaign to prevent it from passing.
We certainly will be organizing and activating our over 18,000 members.
Pinkley says one concern of hers is money going to other state needs before public education.
We are very concerned about other state needs, which have been used for vouchers last year and this year to the tune of $82 million.
Claire Scott, KSL News Radio.
Friends and classmates of Eagle Mountain High Schooler Reagan Fowler are grieving after she died unexpectedly. KSL TV's Lauren Steinbrecher met with one of Reagan's best friends.
Elia Rogers is now trying to imagine life without Reagan, saying the Cedar Valley High School junior started feeling sick last week. Elia says Reagan even visited the doctor, but the 17-year-old suddenly passed away Monday, leaving friends and classmates in utter disbelief.
Rogers says Reagan had such a beautiful personality, and she wishes Reagan would know how much everyone loved her. Some wealthy Americans are eyeing TikTok after the House passed a bill seeking to ban the app unless it's sold. The CEO of TikTok was on Capitol Hill yesterday pushing back on a forced sale.
It's going to impact 170 million Americans who use our app. It's going to impact 7 million small businesses, and I hope their voices are heard.
Former Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says he's putting together a group of investors to buy TikTok from its Chinese owners. KSL News Time is 7:09. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, it's been a pretty good Friday commute thus far between Draper and Salt Lake. No slowdowns. The wind, you'll feel it, but it's not as it hasn't caused any crashes or any delays yet. Clashes are both cleared in Tooele County and almost cleared from Beck Street and Victory Road. Not at Beck Street, but Victory Road up by the Capitol, where we've had a crash in the intersection at 500 North. Heather?
It's pretty much the same up north in Weber and Davis County. You will feel the wind, especially if you're closer to the east side of Weber and Davis counties along US 89, Harrison Boulevard, those roadways. But we don't have any accidents reported on city streets or major freeways. Traffic continues to fill in, but not enough to slow anybody down on I-15 or Legacy Parkway. Eric.
And we really don't have any delays in Utah County on the freeway either, from Santa Quin Payson all the way up to American Fork and Lehigh. No difficulties. Some of the major streets are starting to get a little bit more filled in. State Street northbound in Orem, approaching 800 North, and over on Timpanogos Highway at some of the intersections heading from Highland over into Lehigh on the westbound side. That's going to be a little bit slow in some spots. The Serta mattress sale is happening now at Two Brothers Mattress. Get a queen Serta mattress for $379. That's a Serta for $379. Visit one of their 5 stores or twobrothersmattress.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL hourly forecast. Temperatures in the mid-30s with gusty east winds north of Salt Lake at 7 a.m. You work into the lunch hour. More sunshine today with a couple of clouds. Temps in the mid-40s. Breezy winds out of the east. Into this afternoon, topping out at 56. Partly cloudy and still holding on to some of those east winds. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 37 degrees downtown. Mark Wahlberg has a new feel-good movie called Arthur the King. And we'll talk to Andy Farnsworth about it coming up in just a moment. Utah just took a step closer to putting some regulations on the beekeeping industry. Governor Spencer Cox signed a bill this week that asks for a working group of county bee inspectors to set rules for how many hives are too many for a single private property and where it's not okay to keep these hives. If you want to bring the buzz to your yard, make sure to register your hives with the state's Department of Agriculture. The BYU men's basketball team is waiting for Selection Sunday after they got knocked out of the Big 12 tournament by Texas Tech. The Cougars struggled from the three-point line, but Noah Waterman says they still have a lot to look forward to.
We're going to take a lot of stuff from this game and just critique it. We're going to be us at the NCAA tournament. We're going to shock a lot of people.
Many draft boards have BYU projected as a 5 or 6 seed. The Utah Utes had a tough night, too, in the Pac-12 tournament, getting eliminated by Colorado. The Utes are considered on the bubble for the NCAA tournament. Utah State had to go to overtime, but they beat Fresno State to advance in the Mountain West tournament, and they'll play San Diego State tonight at 7:30. A familiar face is returning to the Delta Center for the Jazz game tonight. The Jazz will host the Atlanta Hawks, who are now coached by Quinn Snyder, who hasn't been back since he last coached the Jazz in 2022. He had the second most wins of any coach in Jazz history, and the tip-off tonight is at 7:30. The Utah Jazz have opened 6 new mothers' rooms at the Delta Center. According to KSL Sports, each room has upgraded seats, TVs, sinks, mirrors, and products from Cozy Earth, the company they partnered with to open the rooms. You can find the rooms on the main concourse of the Delta Center as well as level 5 near doors 1 and 7. Miami Beach, which has been working to curtail out-of-control spring break parties, says it's preparing for what is typically its worst weekend of the year.
Miami Beach Commissioner David Suarez says this upcoming weekend is typically the worst for out-of-control partying each year. It's right in the heart of spring break, and it comes just ahead of the Miami Music Week, which draws young people from around the world. The city's been upping police presence, jacking up parking prices, closing beaches past 6 p.m., and taking other steps to try and keep things under control. The Miami Herald says so far 80% of spring break-related arrests on South Beach have been locals. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
Trending this hour on the 7 o'clock report, a parody musical based off Gwyneth Paltrow's ski trial that took place here in Utah is now coming to Park City.
My name is Gwyneth Paltrow.
My name is Terry Sanderson.
Variety reports the show titled Gwyneth Goes Skiing will play at the Egyptian Theater on Main Street. The exact dates have not yet been announced. Do you have your green picked out for St. Patrick's Day this Sunday? Oh, that's this Sunday. Krispy Kreme is getting in on the fun by offering a free green donut to anyone who shows up in green from today through Sunday. KSL News Time now is 7:14. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
the Utah Education Association unanimously voted to oppose a November ballot measure that could change how education is funded. I'm KSL News Radio's Claire Scott.
Second, Central and Southern Utah are getting a blanket of rain and snow this weekend. Third, traffic and weather together.
We've had a good drive despite windy conditions this morning. For most drivers, you should be able to get to your destination in a minimum travel time. It is starting to fill in on 2100 North near I-15 in Lehigh. We've seen some heavy traffic come and go on Bangerter Highway this morning, and the drive around Hill Air Force Base hasn't seen any extra delays on to the base. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Windy again today with partly cloudy skies. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's 37 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. And time for KSL's top national stories. KSL News Time is 7:15. Let's see if I can pull up those national stories here on KSL.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. A decision in Fulton County, Georgia, in the election interference case against former President Donald Trump and 18 others. Defense attorneys sought to disqualify the DA, Fani Willis, because of her romantic relationship with a prosecutor, Nathan Wade. Judge Scott McAfee has decided that Willis will be allowed to stay on if Wade steps aside. So, Fani Willis, the DA, will be allowed to stay on the case if the prosecutor, Nathan Wade, steps aside. This is the latest legal wrangling involving former President Donald Trump. ABC's Eric Katursky says he was in a Florida court yesterday trying to have the classified documents charges dismissed.
Trump has tried to derail the federal case in Florida, accusing him of mishandling classified documents. But the judge there rejected his claim the charges are unconstitutionally vague, saying that while Trump raises various arguments warranting serious consideration, Dismissing the case would be premature.
At least 3 people are dead in Logan County, Ohio, because of severe weather, including reported tornadoes that swept through the area. This week marks 4 years since events around the country began shutting down because of COVID-19, and there's now a new assessment as to where the virus might have come from. ABC's Sherry Preston has details.
The FBI has said it thinks a leak from the Wuhan, China virology lab was to blame. A different declassified intelligence report said no, the Wuhan wet market was more likely the culprit. Now a new report published in the journal Society for Risk Analysis, which looked at all the evidence we have so far, says a leak from the Wuhan lab cannot be ruled out.
First shipment of aid to Gaza utilizing a new sea route has arrived with 200 tons of humanitarian aid. You're listening to ABC News.
He's hurting. What do you think he went through before he met us?
Whatever it wasn't good.
Movies based on true stories are the headliners in theaters this week, including Arthur the King, starring Mark Wahlberg, and One Life, starring Anthony Hopkins. Joining me live is the host of the movie show, Andy Farnsworth. Where do you want to start, Andy?
Well, let's start with Arthur the King. And actually, all the stories based on the true events that we're going to talk about on the movie show today were done very well, I thought. For Arthur the King, you said you read the book that it's based on, right, Amanda?
It was so wonderful.
So this is it's tweaked just a tiny bit. They changed the name of the main athlete, but it's based on those events. Starring Mark Wahlberg as a guy who's kind of an aging athlete. He puts together a team that he hopes will win the Adventure Racing World Championship across the Dominican Republic. Now, that's a 450-mile endurance race over terrains that involves running, mountain biking, climbing, kayaking. But then this stray dog starts tagging along with Wahlberg's team, and it motivates him, it inspires him, and then Mark Wahlberg and the dog in particular, they bond in a way they never expected. He names the dog Arthur because obviously it sounds like King Arthur, but it's about an adventure race. Now, this doesn't have it probably won't have the same box office punch as like Dune or Kung Fu Panda, but I think it's totally worth your time. I like Mark Wahlberg.
I do too. He
plays a character with kind of a style that makes him easy to root for. And Natalie Emanuel and Simu Liu are in it. Simu was one of the Kens, by the way, in Barbie. Oh. But it's just really well done. My whole family enjoyed it. I really liked it. The other movie, Amanda, is called One Life, starring Anthony Hopkins. And I don't know if you've heard about this
I don't know
one.
anything about this.
Okay, this tells the story of Nicholas Winton. He's an Englishman who was so moved by the plight of refugees in Czechoslovakia during the build-up to World War II that he spearheaded an effort that got almost 700 children, most of whom were Jewish, transported out of Czechoslovakia and placed with English foster families. And it was no easy task. But even 40 years later, and Anthony Hopkins plays the 40 years later version of Nicholas, he's haunted by the ones he couldn't save. And it jumps between his efforts in 1938 as a young man and his older years in the 1980s. Nobody knew about this until he went on TV. It's a whole story. I don't want to give away from the movie.
But wait, was this the guy that went on This Is Your Life?
Yes.
Oh.
No, not This Is Your Life. It's called Your Life or something.
Your Life.
But yeah, it's like a British almost
that.
comedy show, silly thing.
Yeah.
And it comes on and he meets one of the people that he saved that he hadn't seen or heard from or knew anything about. And I tell you what, the finish of this movie brings some tissues with you.
Yeah, I bet, because I remember that show. Oh, wow, looking forward to both of them. Okay.
That's called One Life. And then there's if we have enough time, there's one more thing on streaming. There's a show called Manhunt, which is one of the first times I've ever seen a drama series done about the assassination of President Lincoln and the post-Civil War era. It's really interesting. It's a lot of money. Apple spent a lot of money on making this look authentic, but it's a drama. It's not a documentary, but it's really cool.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'll put that on the list. Manhunt on Apple.
Yep.
All right, and we'll have more on the movie show coming up at 9 o'clock.
We'll be at My Hearing Centers today.
Right now, 7:19, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Back over to you, Andy.
Well, Amanda, right now in the Salt Lake Valley, freeways are still clear from Draper to downtown. We haven't seen any real big delays on Bangerter yet. In fact, not even a lot of heavy traffic. We're going to start seeing that as we get through the rest of this hour. Mountain View's starting to get a little bit heavy in West Jordan, both directions around the intersections between, I can't remember what it's called now, down in South Jordan there. Daybreak, that's the word. Heather?
We're looking good in Weber and Davis County if you're sticking to the freeways. But we have a lot of congestion right now in front of Northridge High School in Layton. That's on Hillfield Road, both directions. As well as Clearfield High School, 1000 East, overly congested, both northbound and southbound between 700 South and Clearfield and Main Street. Otherwise, you're going to have an accident-free commute, but you will have a lot of wind blowing you around on the freeways. Eric.
Traffic getting a little bit slow westbound on Kearns Boulevard going from US 40 into Park City this morning, but everything else along the Wasatch Back looks okay. US 40, I-80 through Parley's Canyon, down Utah County, I-15, no difficulties at the moment, going northbound from Provo to Thanksgiving Point. When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing exceptional service from Ford dealers. Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, Performance Toyota, and Truck Country. See performancebountiful.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast looking at a high of 56 today, partly cloudy skies and some pesky east winds north of Salt Lake City. 57, mostly sunny tomorrow, a little bit breezy. Less wind on Sunday, partly cloudy, 60 degrees. Here comes high pressure, sunny skies on Monday, 62 up to 64, very spring-like for your Tuesday sunny skies. We'll keep it in the mid-60s as we work through middle of next week with more clouds. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
I appreciate our texters letting us know what it's like where you are. I got a text a few minutes ago. Wind is still blowing in Syracuse. All right, hang in there, Syracuse. You can text us anytime. It's safe for you to do so on the KSL text line. That's 57500. Right now it's 35 degrees. And the 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. We'll take a look at money news just ahead.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Recruiting Connection is a woman-owned full-service recruiting firm that works to connect top businesses with the most talented candidates in the market. Managing Director Cody Johnson joins us with more.
Since Recruiting Connection was founded in 2003, we have been able to impact both the local Utah market and national markets by placing thousands of candidates with over 750 Utah companies. Our competitive advantages include our proprietary recruiting practices that we call the RC Way, our vast network, and our incredible team of experienced recruiters. We are in the business of truly changing the trajectory of the companies we work with, and we get to change the lives of candidates in the process. Our full-service recruiting team not only searches out the best talent out there, but we get to know you and your business so you get the perfect fit for your company. As businesses, our greatest asset is our people, and our passion is to connect top businesses with the best talent out there. At Recruiting Connection, we help you find the right people because the right people get results.
As headhunters, Recruiting Connection focuses on clients' needs and works to help recruit and deliver best-in-class talent to their businesses. For more information, visit their website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Looking for a secure retirement plan without market risk? Look no further. Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, specializes in no market risk retirement strategies with guarantees of principal, guaranteed growth, and lifelong income. Join Lyle right here each Saturday and Sunday for his Safe Money radio show and call him now at 855-355-SAFE for your complimentary customized Safe Money information kit and Safe Money book. Nothing but upside here at 855-355-SAFE.
Watching Utah's Money, brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The FCC says 24 million Americans do not have access to high-speed internet, with the biggest problems being in rural areas. KSL Drive's Google's self-driving car division called Waymo is going to start testing self-driving cars on the freeway in Phoenix. They've had self-driving cars on city streets for months, but they say getting out on the freeway is a crucial step in their testing. A typical stick of deodorant costs about $5 to $8, but some luxury brands want you to pay a lot more than that, and shockingly, people are. The Le Labo brand has a 1.7-ounce roll-on stick that smells like lavender and costs $37. Chanel is even higher. If you'd like Chanel deodorant, that spray costs $65. All right, let's get a look at your money at this moment. We're just a couple of minutes ahead of the opening bell, and the futures have turned down, but just a fraction. The Dow futures are off 6. 6. That's just 0.02%. S&P off 7. The Nasdaq futures down 50. That's a 0.25%. Crude oil still over $80 a barrel. It's down 37 cents to $80.89. Coming up in just a moment, we do have a crash that's being cleared in a neighborhood near the state capitol, but that's just an isolated problem this morning. We'll check traffic and weather together coming up. The way I used to act with my home in the important equipment in my home, like furnace and air conditioner and so forth, is I just wait till they break down. And then when they broke down, I'd call someone. And then, of course, because I waited until they broke down, it would be a much worse problem. And then I learned, because I met the folks at Superior Water and Air, I learned, look, just like your car, you got to take care of this equipment. You got to have regular oil changes or whatever the commensurate thing is. You wouldn't run your car until it just broke down and not have it checked and have everything fixed up. So I'm the same way now. And now that we're getting into spring, I'm going to schedule my air conditioner tune-up, because the time to call Superior is not in July when it just stops working and I have no idea why. I take care of those pieces of equipment so they'll last longer. So I've already gotten way longer out of my furnace than I anticipated to, because I get these regular tune-ups. It's really a simple process. And Superior's always helping me save money too and take care of my family. I mean, they recommended a certain kind of filter that's like a hospital-grade quality filter, because I have a son with asthma. And they get to know, this is her family. What can I do to help her out? And the other thing, I used to have these 2 gigantic water heaters that would be using energy to keep all this water heated all the time when my family wasn't using it. So I got a tankless water heater. So now I only use the energy to heat water when somebody actually needs it. So I heat water on demand. They're just a wonderful partner to have if you own a home or a building of any kind. Think about Superior Water and Air. You're going to like these guys. 974-9090, or just go online to superiorwaterandair.com.
Are you using the KSL News Radio app to listen to your favorite shows whenever you want? You can podcast Utah's morning news even after it's finished at 9. You can listen to David Najanovic or Boyd Matheson. Just click on the podcast tab. And you can stream Jeff Kaplan live between 3 and 7 right from the player. All of those shows, plus the KSL Greenhouse and Cougar Sports Saturday. They're on the app for KSL News Radio. KSL News Radio.
7:29, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Back to you, Andy.
Amanda, we're still delay-free from Draper to Salt Lake City on I-15, 201 and I-80 out of Tooele County. Yet to see any backups, but southbound traffic starting to back up around 7800 South in Mountain View in West Jordan, and northbound Mountain View at 3500 South in West Valley. Heather?
Still haven't seen any slowdowns on the major freeways in Weber and Davis counties, including I-15, I-84 through the mountains, and US 89. But city streets have plenty of congestion, especially anywhere there's a school zone. The worst is in Layton at Northridge High School and Clearfield High School on 1000 East. Eric.
I-15 running smooth this morning from Provo up to Lehigh. Is starting to get a little bit busier, particularly if you're eastbound off of Redwood Road heading over to the freeway on Pioneer Crossing or 2100 North. Over on the 215 East Belt, no difficulties now going past Mount Olympus northbound up to I-80 or Foothill Drive. Update your kitchen with Durden's Appliance, where they meet any competitor's price. Visit Durdens.com or on 5th South and Bountiful. Durden's, brands you know, at prices you'll love. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
I just got a text that says the wind is not letting up in Far West, and it's cold. I hear you up there in Far West. It's cold in the 30s this morning. We will get up to 56 for a high, but think of this. We get all the way up to 65 by midweek next week. Right now downtown, though, 36 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 7:30. Tim has the day off. KSL's top story this hour. We've still got some strong winds blowing along the Wasatch Front, and it could take some time before they start to die down again. KSL News Radio's Adam Small begins our live team coverage, severe Utah weather, and he's out on the roads in Farmington. Adam?
Amanda, here along Park Lane near Farmington Canyon, wind gusts reached 67 miles an hour overnight, but that's almost 20 miles an hour below what we were expecting going into this yesterday. National Weather Service senior meteorologist Monica Traphagen says the winds will die down as we work through the day, but we are far from done with this.
as we get to Saturday night into Sunday morning, there's a potential for winds to ramp up again and potentially get a little more of a downslope event, but that'll be significantly weaker than what we saw with this event.
So far this morning, as I've been driving around town, I've noticed very little, if any, damage around here. No power outages, things like that. So definitely good news to report this morning. We might have dodged a bullet up here. Live in Farmington, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
It was a rough night up north for some neighbors who are cleaning up after damage from yesterday's winds. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson continues our team coverage.
Folks are cleaning up after some wind damage in Clearfield. Enrique Sanchez out with his boys Thursday afternoon, clearing out lemon tree debris from his yard. One Farmington man tells KSL5 he and his neighbors have been through all of this before. He himself on his third roof, all previous ones ripped up by high winds.
We've had trampolines go through windows. People lose their entire roof. So most people are here on their third or fourth roof, definitely. Multiple fences. Yeah, every year people have to go swap garbage cans out. Pretty common occurrence.
KSL meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke says winds should blow out of here by early afternoon today. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
The Utah Department of Public Safety has some tips for staying safe in the middle of these hurricane-force winds. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with more. Peter?
Amanda, strapping down the stuff on your patio is a start. Utah Department of Public Safety Commissioner Jess Anderson tells KSL at night.
Any loose materials, any loose objects, patio furniture, chairs, trash cans, anything that's going to become a flying piece of debris, you can bring that in and secure it.
Additionally, Anderson says to make sure you avoid semis and other high-profile vehicles. Sergeant Cameron Roden from the Department of Public Safety says none tipped last night, but according to trucking company Knight Transportation, it only takes 60-mile-an-hour winds to tip a semi. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories this hour. President Biden is out campaigning, hitting potential swing states.
President Joe Biden out on the campaign trail, where he touted his infrastructure investment and slammed his November rival.
They want to undo everything I just talked about.
This as Vice President Kamala Harris toured a health clinic in Minnesota that offers abortion services, marking the first time a president or VP has ever done so.
ABC's Em Nguyen reports former President Trump has been busy with his legal team preparing for various court cases. The numbers are in for Utah, and the Utah Republican Party says former President Trump secured over half of the votes, 56.4%. It was a close race, though. Nikki Haley grabbed 42.7% of the votes, while Texas businessman Ryan Binkley, who dropped out after the ballots were printed, got just 1%. We're getting answers from Senator Mitt Romney after he voted against a bill that would expand compensation for victims of nuclear radiation testing during the 50s and 60s. You'll hear them referred to as downwinders. A spokesperson for the senator says the bill is too broad and too expensive. He supported a similar bill last year, but claims that one was more specific. Our other Utah Senator Mike Lee also voted against the bill. First look traffic now, and we go back over to you, Andy.
Amanda, traffic on I-15 is still clear into and out of Salt Lake City on the main corridor, but you'll see some busy city streets here and there. 12th Street looks pretty busy east of I-15 in Ogden. I've been watching some slowing come and go on Mountain View around 3500 south northbound, and then southbound around 7800 south on Mountain View. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mortgage rates are dropping, and they're expected to drop even more this year. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Gurr has more.
The national 30-year fixed mortgage rate is currently at 6.84%, according to data from the Mortgage Bankers Association. The lower rates have already started to increase national demand, but sellers are still hesitant about putting their homes on the market. The president of the Utah Realtors Association, Adam Kirkham, says any drop in mortgage rates will help both buyers and sellers in Utah.
We don't see indications of them going ever again down to the 3s and 4s, but if they could ease a little bit, that would go a long ways with the cost of home ownership for a buyer.
He says he expects rates will continue to slightly drop through the end of this year. Alessandra Gurr, KSL News Radio.
75% of the counties in Utah saw growth this year. The latest data from the Census Bureau shows Utah's population grew by 36,000 people between July of 2022 and 2023. A large chunk of that growth is from Utah County, but the most populated county is Salt Lake with 1.2 million residents. The Utah Food Bank needs more than 100 million pounds of food to take care of everyone who needs help.
Right now, the racks at the food bank warehouse in West Valley are pretty empty.
So this past year, we distributed 60 million pounds of food. That's hard to kind of envision, but think about 50 million meals. But if we were to go out across our state and take the adequate amount of food that people need and give everyone that level of donation, we would need another 46 million pounds of food.
Utah Food Bank President and CEO Jeanette Bott says they've just opened a couple new pantries in southern Utah, and they're still trying to support pantries in schools and mobile pantries. Tomorrow is the statewide Feed Utah food drive. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Just put that bag of non-perishable food out on your porch before 9 a.m. and they'll come by and pick it up, and we'll help our neighbors. It's been a pretty mellow commute. You know, we have some slowdowns westbound into Park City on US 40. That's about the busiest spot right now. We'll check it. Traffic and weather together coming up next.
A legacy of news and information going back generations.
I'll have the radio on. I learned that from my mom. She's listened to KSL her whole life, and I grew up listening to KSL radio too.
I really enjoy listening in the morning.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Celebrate the arrival of spring with Bullfrog Spas. It's time to welcome back warm weather during Bullfrog Spa's Factory Store Spring Sale with huge savings on new hot tubs and swim spas featuring Bullfrog Spa's exclusive jetpack therapy system with personalized massage features created just for you. Hurry in. Our Factory Store Spring Sale is happening now. Save up to $3,500 off MSRP with special 24-month financing and a free spa audio system worth up to $1,600.
Bullfrog Spas. Peaceful body, peaceful mind, peaceful home.
They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert. You may not have that kind of time for weatherization, energy efficiency, and appliance rebates, but we do. Dominion Energy's ThermWise program has experts who know where and how to save money. They help homeowners and businesses find simple ways to conserve natural gas and rebates through upgrades that may help to save even more. We put our energy into helping you conserve it, so you can spend your 10,000 hours becoming an expert in what matters to you. Start with a home energy plan at thermwise.com.
And the news is sponsored by Dominion Energy's ThermWise program. Their experts can help you save money. Start now at thermwise.com. KSL News Time 7:39. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back over to you, Andy.
Amanda, still no crashes to report throughout the Salt Lake Valley. That's good. That means traffic is held up pretty well. We do have some slowing 106 south, though, coming over from Redwood towards I-15, especially close to the freeway in South Jordan, turning into Sandy. SR 201 a bit heavy now in Magna at 7200 west. But Tooele County SR 36 only has some waiting at some of the intersection lights and not more than one light cycle at most. Heather?
We've got some big delays on 12th Street in Ogden now, both eastbound and westbound. Most of this is east of I-15 all the way over to about Wall Avenue. I haven't seen that a train is affecting your commute in this area. Just appears to be a lot of extra traffic. Now, if you hop on I-15, we haven't had any delays all morning long. It's less than 30 minutes from Ogden to downtown Salt Lake City, and no problems getting to the airport using Legacy and the West Side Belt. Eric.
Looks like we got a crash on Redwood Road in Salt Lake County. This is at 121st South, and it's right there in the middle, so that means the left lane is blocked for both directions, northbound and southbound. I-15 in Utah County looking just fine in Redwood Road there. Not bad heading north from 2100 north past Camp Williams up to the Porter Rockwell intersection. Attention Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Go Pave Utah is a full-service parking lot, paving, repair, and maintenance company servicing reversing the Wasatch Front. Contact Go Pave Utah today. GoPaveUtah.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
East winds continue for the northern Wasatch Front. Look for highs in the mid-50s today, partly cloudy skies. We'll likely see a lull in the winds this afternoon, then ramping back up tonight. For tomorrow, 57, a little bit breezy, dry skies, up to 60 by Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Let me see where we are right now. Downtown, it's 36 degrees. And coming up in just a moment, I'm going to ask Matt to stop by and let's talk a little bit more about this windstorm. Some folks have been texting me this morning saying, hey, I didn't feel any wind. Where was it? It was up north. But we'll get the details from Matt. That's coming up in just a moment here on KSL, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. But right now, time for Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox.
It's Pi Day, and in a world where religion has been taken out of Christmas, where Memorial Day means a chance to save like never before, Pi Day has become nothing more than a day to eat pie, and I want to bring back its meaning.
Pi is the Latin alphabet letter used as an algebraic shorthand for the circumference of a circle divided by its diameter.
I want to bring back the original meaning of this important holiday. We should be holding special ceremonies where speakers offer dramatic readings of pi, which I will offer now, providing music to help you remember this renowned number.
1, 2, 3.
3.14159265535.
This is Mambo number 5.
897-932-3846-264-3382-7950288. 419-716-9399.
I got 99 problems, but a ain't one.
375-1058-209-7494-592.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
307-816-406-2862, 208-998-6280, 348-25. I said 25. 342-117-0679-821-480-865-132-823-0664. 709-384-46095. 505-822-3172-535-9408-1288-675-309. I made that last part up. And there's my slice of pie for Pi Day, and I left one digit out, because I don't want anybody stealing my work.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
He is so clever. That's fantastic. Way to go, Jeff. I appreciate that. My favorite part of the morning. And it's brought to you by the law offices of Jordan Wilcox. IRS harassing you? The law offices of Jordan Wilcox can help. Visit taxhelput.com.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, it's never good news.
My name is Jim. So I went through a difficult time with a divorce. Then the economy crashed. I was out of work. Combination of the way that my ex-wife was filing the tax returns caused mine to get rejected, and I found myself in a difficult situation that I didn't know how to get out of.
Don't face the IRS alone. With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone.
I could not believe that it was even possible. I had hoped for something. Never dreamt in my wildest dreams he would get what he got.
You need someone to fight for you.
We owed $80,300 and something, and I paid $1,000.
Visit taxhelput.com and get relief today. Let's solve your tax problems now. Visit taxhelput.com.
It was incredible. Do yourself a favor. Call Jordan Wilcox.
That's taxhelput.com.
KSL News Time is 7:44. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Central southern Utah may not be that windy, but they're getting a blanket of rain and snow this weekend. I'm KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston.
Second, police have arrested a driver linked to a hit-and-run crash near 600 West and North Temple. Salt Lake City police say the suspect ran a red light and hit a 20-year-old woman in the crosswalk. Third, traffic and weather together.
I-15 still looking good, whether you're starting out in Ogden, Salt Lake, or Provo. Either direction of the freeway hasn't seen any delays this morning despite the windy conditions we've been feeling. But city streets getting pretty heavy, especially along Mountain View, Bangerter, and West Valley, and some of the city streets west of the freeway in Roy now. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking at some wind to start the weekend, but some nice temperatures next week. I'm Matt Johnson.
We'll talk more with Matt in just a moment. Right now it's 36 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, and time for KSL's top national stories.
This is a special report from ABC News Georgia election case. I'm Brian Clark. A judge is allowing the district attorney who brought the election interference case against former President Donald Trump and 18 co-defendants to stay on the case. The defense said she should be disqualified because of her romantic relationship with a prosecutor.
In a 23-page ruling, Judge Scott McAfee offers DA Fani Willis two options. She can step aside from the case or remain on it, but only if she dismisses Nathan Wade, the member of her team with whom she had a relationship. McAfee says Donald Trump and his co-defendants did not prove that Willis financially benefited by dating Wade, but he says the pair did appear to have lied about their coupling. He says, quote, an odor of mendacity remains. And he says Willis's public claim that her relationship with Wade was raised for racial reasons was, quote, legally improper.
That's ABC Stephen Portnoy. Either side could appeal the judge's decision. This is ABC News.
We've had a lot of texters this morning. Matt Johnson, a KSL meteorologist, joins me in studio. We just got one. It's been super windy in Orem all morning. They've even had some traffic lights out up in the Ogden area because of power situations. But tell us about this windstorm.
Yeah, I think that it peaked out last night and early this morning. I think the threat for damaging winds is subsiding, but still some strong gusts out there. Current gusts seeing all the way up to 60 miles an hour there at the foot of Farmington Canyon. Also anywhere from 40 to 50 still happening north of Salt Lake City. But there's also a lot of spots where we're just in a lull and there's just not much happening.
Yeah, I get a text this morning. What are you talking about, windstorm? I didn't feel any wind, and I thought, well, it is probably hit or miss depending on where you are, right?
Yeah, it's kind of been one of those ones, and it really didn't hit as strong as we were anticipating the potential of it to be, right? No 80 or 85 mile an hour gusts in the valley, so that's good. Less damage noted across the northern Wasatch, but we've seen trees down, fences down, blowing debris, things like that, trampolines flying around. But all in all, we kind of escaped the worst of what we could have seen.
And I guess roofers will be busy for a while. I heard one report from a guy who said, some people in this area of Farmington are on like roof number 3 of their house.
I believe it. Yeah, that's a very wind-prone area. Even if it's not an east wind event, Farmington Canyon and some of those other canyons in Centerville, Ford Canyon, can really get the winds cranking. Even if it's not a full-blown east wind deal. So,
boy, we've been hearing about crazy weather all over the country, Matt. I mean, we had reports of tornadoes, right, this week?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Yesterday, actually, near Ohio or within state borders, they had a mile-wide tornado on the ground.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that is insane. That'll do damage, because mile-wide, that could wipe out a whole city if it encounters it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and, we're no complaints here, right? We've got our straight line winds, no tornadic activity. It does a little damage here and there, but all in all, yeah, nothing to complain about.
We had somebody text yesterday and said, boy, the sky is so dark, it reminds me of a tornado. But we didn't have a threat of that yesterday, did we?
No, we didn't. Okay. A lot of those clouds are what we call mountain wave clouds. So once the wind comes over the east side of the mountains and drops down, it pops right back up. And on the up, it'll create wind. It'll create clouds, and then on the down it's clear, up it's clouds, and it kind of does this up and down motion all the way out into the West Desert. And so if you looked at a satellite view, you'd have these rows of clouds. We call those mountain wave clouds.
Oh, wow.
And the wind doesn't just stop once it hits your house in Kaysville or Layton.
Yeah.
It'll continue to go up and down like a wave.
That is so
It's kinda
interesting.
cool. Yeah.
All right, don't go away, Matt. Let's talk 7-day forecast in just a second. 7:49 now. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda found the reason for the delay on eastbound 106 South approaching the freeway. It's a crash right as you get ready to go up on the overpass on the bridge itself. Traffic back down past the Jordan Gateway intersection right now. Traffic on I-15 unaffected by that crash, though, as you're moving at the full speed limit from Bluffdale all the way to downtown Salt Lake City. Traffic on the 201 freeway, a bit heavy, though, between 8400 and 7200 west out in Magna. Heather?
Well, it's fairly light traffic flow on the freeways in Weber and Davis counties. No crashes reported on any of those counties, even on city streets. But the city streets do have a little bit of congestion, like Harrison Boulevard in Ogden, 5600 South in Roy, and a lot of the streets in Clearfield. Eric?
Getting a little bit busy over on 2100 North in the north part of Utah County at 2300 West. So if you're over on Redwood Road heading over to the freeway, expect just a touch of slowdowns at that intersection. I-15, once you get there, no problems northbound or southbound in Utah County. Choose a gorgeous new countertop for your kitchen or bath at the Bedrock Quartz Stone Sale, starting at just $39 a foot. Visit bedrockquartz.com. That's bedrockquartz.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Okay, Matt, the wind moves out by about, noon today?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lull in the wind big time this afternoon. But it could come back tonight, but again, nothing damaging. 56 the high today, partly cloudy skies. 57 tomorrow, mostly sunny. Still breezy in the more east wind-prone areas, but again, nothing strong. Sunday, less wind, 60, partly cloudy. Monday, 62 with high pressure building. First day of spring is Tuesday. How about a high of 64? Very appropriate for the holiday. 65 as we work into Wednesday and Thursday next week. So a 5-day stretch of 60s next week. You couldn't ask for a better start to spring.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. Thank you so much, Matt. And have a great weekend. Let's see where we are right now. Temperature-wise, 36 degrees. Hey, would anybody like to go to the Jazz game on Monday night? Would you like to? Would you like to go see the Timberwolves in town on Monday night? Would you like to sit lower bowl? We have a couple of tickets to give away. Here's how you enter to win. You just text the word Jazz, just by itself, J-A-Z-Z, to 57500. On Monday morning, I will give you another keyword. And then you can text that word in for a second chance to win. And then we'll give away those tickets. And one of you will be sitting down in the lower bowl. Rudy Gobert back in town. That's right. You'll be watching Rudy Gobert back in town with the Timberwolves on Monday night, just across the street at the Delta Center. KSL News Time, 7:52.
Good morning. I'm the 40% off window company.
40% off? Of what?
Hey, 40% off.
Yeah, I'll bet it's your biggest sale of the year. This week only, because you need a model home in our neighborhood. Well, nothing. It's baloney. Hi, this is Kathy.
And Doug of Window World. When you hear those things, you know you've entered the baloney zone.
Resist the force of the baloney zone.
Find Window World online at windowworldutah.com.
Or call Window World at 281-8111. That's 281-8111.
And that's no baloney.
With 317,000 Utahns and 1 in 10 Utah kids facing hunger, Utah Food Bank needs your help to fight hunger statewide. In partnership with Macy's Grocery and Lynn's, fill a bag with non-perishable food donations and put it at your doorstep by 9 a.m. on Saturday, March 16th to support the Feed Utah Food Drive. Donations will be picked up by volunteers and can be the difference between hunger and hope for Utahns struggling to make ends meet and feed their families. Learn more about this statewide effort at utahfoodbank.org/feedutah.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Utah lawmakers have given teachers a $60,000 a year starting salary, maternity leave, bonuses that could give them $100,000 a year. So why did the largest teachers union pull the rug out from lawmakers on how they want to fund all of this? Today on Dave and Dujanovic.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. Airlines are hoping for a better day after nearly 1,000 flights were canceled because of severe weather yesterday. The most delays were in Denver, where they're getting a lot of snow. Disney is hoping to see a surge of subscribers today as they launch the streaming version of Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour. We'll be watching that for sure. All right, your money at this moment in the first half hour of trading, the Dow is down 160. That's 0.4%. We're at 38,745. S&P is off 32. The NASDAQ down 120. It's time for Cougar Tracks, and here is KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper.
After the disappointing exit in the Big 12 tournament, BYU basketball is waiting until Sunday to find out who they will face in the NCAA tournament. The Cougars have put themselves in a position where many bracketologists forecast them as a 5 or 6 seed in the Big Dance. It'll be the first NCAA bid for BYU hoops since the 2021 season. They haven't played in an NCAA tournament that wasn't impacted by COVID since 2015. BYU's leading scorer Jackson Robinson is ready to turn the page towards the NCAA.
This loss, it obviously hurts, but like you said, we have the tournament coming up, so we have to move on. We'll digest, the film, stuff like that, look over it, but essentially we just got to move on to the next game and focus on what's ahead. We got bigger goals, so that's what matters.
For a recap of BYU's run in the Big 12 tournament and what lies ahead in the NCAA tournament, listen to Cougar Sports Saturday tomorrow beginning at noon right here on KSL. With Cougar Tracks, I'm Mitch Harper on your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, KSL News Radio.
Brought to you by the Utah Symphony. Don't miss the Utah Symphony performing Dvorak's Violin Concerto. Get your tickets at utahsymphony.org.
From The Simpsons to Spider-Man and Mission Impossible to Men in Black, Danny Elfman has composed some of your favorite film and TV scores. March 22nd and 23rd, hear his iconic musical stylings as the Utah Symphony performs Danny Elfman's Percussion Concerto. In this highly anticipated concert, the symphony is joined by one of the greatest percussionists in the world, Colin Curie. Prepare to be amazed as he jumps from drums to xylophone to vibraphone and more. Tickets are going fast. Get yours at utahsymphony.org. On March 29th and 30th, hear a violinist at the top of her game. International competition winner Serena Huang is making her debut with the Utah Symphony, performing Dvorak's Violin Concerto. It's one of his most popular pieces, but so difficult that it's only attempted by the top violinists. Feel the energy in your limbs as the violinist's bow dances across your strings. It's monumental, dramatic, and selling fast. Get your tickets now at utahsymphony.org.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Tim and Amanda.
Do I look forward to reporting the news? Yes, insofar as it helps me understand what's happening.
We know that it's important information that's going to impact people's lives, and so that makes the job of reporting the news that day easier.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Shh, shh. Do you hear that? Tick tock. That's the sound of time running out on the TikTok app. Or maybe it's the sound of your kids getting off their phones and going outside to feel grass. Or maybe they just find a new app to obsess over. Get updates on the fate of TikTok and your kids' future screen time this week on KSL News Radio.
7:59, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back to you, Andy.
Amanda, got a crash affecting eastbound drivers 106 South right before I-15. Not a major backup, but enough that it'll be more difficult for people who want to turn left and go on to North 15 coming out of South Jordan. Main flow of I-15 hasn't seen any slowdowns at all this morning. Even in the Midvale-Murray stretch where we often see heavy traffic, haven't seen it today. Heather?
We still have some strong winds up north in Weber and Davis counties. The good news is there's no restrictions for high-profile vehicles, but that doesn't mean you won't have to hang on to that steering wheel because that wind could shift you around a bit on the roadway. Our biggest delays are on 12th Street in Ogden. I haven't heard of a crash, but wow, these delays are backed up both eastbound and westbound trying to get to I-15. Eric?
Northbound on the 215 eastbound, northbound Foothill Drive, all of that is looking good alongside the mountains going into on Foothill going up to the University of Utah. I-80 eastbound out into the mountains, so no trouble there, and westbound through Sugar House over to I-15, also in good shape. Get Mr. Max Performance Missionary Package, including one performance suit, 4 and collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, 1 mission belt, 1 pair of Echo or Johnson & Murphy shoes, just $5.95. Eric Butler in KSL Traffic Center.
Those winds ought to die down by about noon today. What did I just... Oh, I got a text. Not even a slight breeze at American Fork. Isn't that funny? It'll be really windy right down the street. Today's high 56 degrees, all the way up to 65 by midweek next week. And currently it's still chilly, 36 downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8 o'clock. This is Utah's Morning News. I'm Amanda Dixon. Tim has the day off. KSL's top story this hour. Winds are still strong along the Wasatch Front. They haven't caused a ton of problems, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. KSL News Radio's Adam Small begins our live team coverage. Severe Utah weather near the mouth of Farmington Canyon. Adam?
Amanda, they aren't quite as strong as they were overnight, but man, these winds are still very strong. The National Weather Service just tweeted out a few minutes ago that they are still getting gusts clocked here along Park Lane over 60 miles an hour. So if you can hear it here in my microphone here a little bit, is definitely still roaring up here. But according to National Weather Service senior meteorologist Monica Traphagen, we might have lucked out a little bit based on the previous forecasts.
The top gusts we've seen were, we've got a gust of 70 miles per hour in North Brigham City along I-15, and then US 89 at Park Lane got a gust of 67 miles per hour.
Yeah, I'll take 67 over the 85 that we had forecasted yesterday. And so far, I think a lot due in part to these slower wind gust speeds that ended up coming here this morning. I've seen maybe some trash cans, some construction signs knocked over, some twigs on Main Street, but really very little damage and little, if any, power outages on the same thing. I would just warn people on the local side streets here. There are some roads being built on the west side of town that some signs marking those road closures have been knocked over. Just be extra careful that you're not driving into construction zones or anything like that. Traphagen says these winds are going to continue to die down as we work through the day, but more are coming this weekend on the weaker end. Live in Farmington, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
KSL TV's Andrew Adams was out overnight checking on neighborhoods in Farmington, and he continues our team coverage. Severe Utah weather.
These winds are intense, and yes, they have caused some damage. It really started looking like pandemonium here again after 8 o'clock. Other street signs rattling, and again, gusts capable of pushing somebody around, or actually in our photographer's case, blowing him right back into the gas station as he was trying to leave. Just this blowing right here gives you an idea of the wind speed. It is blowing hard, and if you head outside, literally hold on to your hat. I've had to do that, otherwise you get crazy hat hair right now. And also keep in mind, if you see power lines down, Rocky Mountain Power has crews out all night just to address the issue. They remind people, don't get close to them if you see them down, but definitely report them. They want to take care of them.
Southern and central Utah aren't as windy, but they're getting a storm of their own today. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston is live with details. Peter?
Yeah, Amanda, national parks might be tough to get to today and tomorrow, according to National Weather Service forecaster Hayden Mahan.
Capitol Reef, or areas around Escalante or Lake Powell, especially if you're having to go over mountain passes.
Mahan says between 1 foot and 4 feet of snow could fall in the upper elevations in southern Utah. But he says Zion is getting an easier treatment.
Really, we're not expecting too much rain, maybe 1/4 of an inch of rain in Zion.
The storm will hover over south and central Utah into next week, but you might be able to take off the poncho come Sunday. Reporting live, Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Bad weather is hitting roads all the way to Wyoming. KSL traffic reporter Heather Kelly has an update. Heather?
Well, if you're heading east into Wyoming, you will be stopped at Rollins. I-80 still shut down at that point, and it isn't expected to reopen until at the earliest 2:30 this afternoon. But even if it does open then, by the time you get to Laramie, that part of I-80 is also closed, and that has no estimate of when it will reopen. Now, even if you decide to travel this roadway, Wyoming officials say that all of the roads in the state of Wyoming have blowing snow on them. They're extremely icy. They're in the extreme hazardous conditions right now. And so they're advising everyone to just stay home. Live, Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. Powerful Santa Ana winds have been battering parts of Southern California. Tish Colburn lives in Pasadena.
It happens. The trees come down, branches come down, but that's what happens. Not much you can do about it. Except trim your trees and keep them pruned.
They've been dealing with winds there of about 65 miles an hour. First look traffic now on a Friday morning, and here is Andy Farnsworth.
And we still have a pretty quiet drive on the main corridor of the freeway. We haven't seen any I-15 slowdowns, but it appears a lot of slowing on 12th Street in Ogden between I-15 and Wall Avenue. Might be issues with traffic lights. For those of you going on the west side of Salt Lake County, no more delays on Bangor or Mountain View, but there's a crash 106 South right at I-15. Backing you up eastbound coming up towards the freeway. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
A Georgia judge ruled a short time ago that District Attorney Fani Willis can remain on the election interference case against former President Trump. But The special investigator she had an intimate relationship with must be removed from the case. Joining me live in studio to talk about the fallout from this is the host of Inside Sources, Boyd Matheson. What do you make of this, Boyd?
So really interesting that the judge sort of split the baby on this one, said Fani Willis can remain on only if Nathan Wade is removed. So that'll be the easiest decision that the district attorney makes. He'll be off the case before the sun sets today, for sure. The sad part of all of this, and we've talked about this many times, Amanda, is that this undermines trust in the process again, regardless of how you feel about the case itself. Having this kind of thing going on, and the question I think that will remain is, did either of them misrepresent or flat out lie in terms of their timing of their relationship, things that they did under oath? And so, of course, the former president is going to use that to make hay on a grievance message, which is, it's all rigged. Everyone's out to get us. I'm here to defend you. So it'll play into the former president's political strategy in terms of messaging. It undermines the trust and confidence of the American people on the other side. And that's actually what worries me the most. This is supposed to be a case that was the strongest case against the former president, and it will be having that cloud and that muddy factor of how this has been playing
Does
out.
her misconduct comment at all on the strength of the case, though? I wouldn't think so.
No, and it shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so in terms of the law and the process, I don't think it will. The judge clearly said it was the look of impropriety. It wasn't actual impropriety.
Right, because it doesn't show any bias against any of the defendants,
That's right.
right?
That's right. But in the court of public opinion, that's going to be the harder case, is the undermining of the confidence in the process and who's actually running it. And the interesting thing is, either the district attorney, Fani Willis, or Nathan Wade could have made a decision months ago.
To step aside. Why didn't they? It's too important.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the problem, is because we have too many in elected office, in high office, that are more worried about their political future or their power and position than they are about truth and justice and representing the people. That's the issue. Nathan Wade could have stepped down months ago, and this case would actually be underway. Now the case, I'm sure there'll be an appeal on this portion as well. There's no chance this case gets heard until 2025.
Especially not with 18 defendants.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's going to be. Yeah. All right. We don't have time for any more, but I
We'll
wish
come
we
back.
did, Boyd.
Happy Friday to
I'll be
all.
listening
Yeah.
this afternoon. Boyd Matheson, of course, Inside Sources at 1 o'clock. We have a power outage that's causing westbound slowdowns on 12th Street in Ogden. We'll check it next on KSL.
Join your friends who rely on KSL each morning for the fastest routes to work and school.
I like traffic on the 9s.
So I need to get the kids up earlier so that my son isn't driving quickly in a snowstorm.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s.
On KSL News Radio.
You wouldn't know it, but most financial advisors are put in a box. I'm Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I want to provide you a little insight about financial advisors. Most financial advisors have to sell what their company requires them to sell, and many advisors have to only adhere to what's called a suitability standard. A suitability standard is a limited standard of care, not requiring what's sold to be best, just suitable. Advisors with this loose standard often have limited investment and product selection. Trajan Wealth is held to a fiduciary standard, which is the highest standard of care in the advisory business. And that's just one of the many reasons we have billions of dollars under our care and attract clients from other advisors. Raise your standards today and call Trajan Wealth. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Want more speed? Well, you're in luck, because Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. Plus, with super fast internet and a reliable connection, you can do more of what you love, whenever you want. More gaming, more downloading, more video chatting, and more cozy nights on the couch streaming your favorite movies and TV shows. If life with more speed sounds pretty awesome, that's because it is. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Get 300 megabit Xfinity internet for only $25 a month for 12 months with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included. That's 50% more speed for the same great price. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Want more speed? Go to Xfinity.com, call or visit a store today.
8:09 traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back over to you, Andy.
Amanda, still have the crash cleanup going on eastbound 106 South right before I-15. Not as big a delay as it was about 10 minutes ago. I-15 doesn't have any delay at all. In fact, you'll make it through the valley in about 20 minutes of travel time the whole way if you're coming from Utah County. If you're going up Bangerter, looks like all the intersections not seeing any extra delays this morning. Heather?
Well, we've got a power outage in Ogden, and it's really affecting drivers on 12th Street. All those traffic lights are out as you make your way between Wall Avenue and I-15, both directions. So you're going to see big delays eastbound and westbound on 12th Street and trying to get on and off of I-15. Now, if you're on I-15 itself, no problems, no delays, no accidents between Ogden and Salt Lake. That's less than 30-minute commute. Eric?
And it's a 20-minute drive northbound from Provo to Point of the Mountain if you're in Utah County this morning. We don't have any delays along the freeway and getting over to the freeway. Not a major issue. Any Place Mountain View corridor as it turns into 2100 north at Redwood Road. That's probably the busiest intersection. Along the Wasatch Back, US 40 looks good. Just a touch of slowing for northbounders on US 40 approaching the River Road intersection north of town. Spring is here and new deals are blooming at Murdoch Chevrolet. Receive up to $9,000 off or 2.9% for 6 years on a Silverado 1500. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be keeping those east winds around today. 56 the high, partly cloudy skies, maybe even a lull in the winds this afternoon, then ramping back up late tonight Friday morning with a low of 35. 57 tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, partly cloudy with a high of 60 by Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 34 degrees downtown. Debbie Dujanovic is here. David Dujanovic back on the air this morning, and Debbie will join me in a moment to talk about this new settlement between the National Association of Realtors over the commissions charged by real estate agents. We're going to learn more from Deb just ahead on KSL News Radio. By the way, you can stream us at kslnewsradio.com. Stream us live and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. Hey, Sunday is St. Patrick's Day. And the only reason I remembered that is because I saw NPS is having a sale. NPS, where I shop and save money every week. I do my grocery shopping there at NPS because I know that their business model is they take in huge shipments from 18-wheelers and freight cars of goods that are rejected for whatever reason. They're brand new. I mean, everything is brand new. And then I get to save 20 to 70% because that's how much they mark them down when they get on the showroom floor at NPS. But then they have sales on top of those savings. So really, by the time they mark it down again for this St. Patrick's Day sale, you're just paying pennies on the dollar for clothing. Do you need it? Does anybody in your family need clothes? Shop at NPS first. Does anyone collect Pandora jewelry in your... Boy, save an additional 50% off Pandora. You could save that for the next Mother's Day or birthday. An additional 50% off bedding and linens. An additional 25% off kitchen appliances. Do you need anything? Do you need a microwave or a coffee pot? Or why not look at NPS first? Plus luggage. Take a look at your suitcase. It got pretty beat up last time. You can save an additional 40% off luggage at NPS. I just want to help you and your family save money. It's been such a big help to me. NPS with 2 stores in Salt Lake, one in Layton and one in Orem.
Are you stressing about your IRS tax problems? Have you received notices from the IRS threatening to garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, or seize your property? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has tax attorneys and enrolled agents that are ready to fight for you. They have saved millions for taxpayers just like you. Allies Tax Relief can help put a stop to IRS collections and, most importantly, negotiate your tax debt. Here's Brenda, a happy client of Allies Tax Relief.
I owed the IRS around $57,000, and they're about to start garnishing my paychecks. I heard a commercial on the radio about Allies Tax Relief, so I thought I'd give them a call. After a day, they were able to at least stop the garnishments, and after a few months of negotiations, I walked away owing the IRS only $301.
If you owe the IRS, call Allies Tax Relief right now for your free consultation. Call 800-230-5174. 800-230-5174. That's 800-230-5174.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails from people all the time. Here's one. Dear Dan, I hear your talk about a lifetime service guarantee. Free? Really? Please help me avoid all your fine print and be honest about what free means. You understand that we should be very wary of a free offer. Signed, Skeptical. Hi, Skeptical. I remember 22 years ago when we started PC Laptops and our lifetime service guarantee, people thought it was too good to be true. Well, after a decade, people started believing me a little bit. But it's been 22 years of having the privilege to serve our friends and neighbors like you. Our lifetime service guarantee has become the most trusted warranty in the industry. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop computer, and they start at only $29 a month. Check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Here's to seeing you soon, Skeptical.
KSL News Time, 8:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
the Utah Food Bank is trying to replace the 60 million pounds of food they handed out last year, but the CEO says that'll still leave them 46 million pounds short. I'm KSL News Radio's Don Brinker-Hoff.
Second, police have arrested a driver linked to a hit-and-run crash near 6th West in North Temple. Salt Lake police say the suspect ran a red light and hit a 20-year-old woman in the crosswalk. Third, traffic and weather together.
Crash is basically cleaned up 106 South and I-15, but we're still seeing slowdowns because of traffic light issues on 12th Street in Ogden, just east of I-15. But most of our roads this morning have done really well despite the windy conditions. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Windy again today with partly cloudy skies. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's 34 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, and time for our top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Former President Donald Trump and 18 others face election interference charges in Georgia. And today, a judge ruled that the district attorney who brought the charges can stay on the case despite her romantic relationship with the prosecutor. ABC's Stephen Portnoy says,
inasmuch as this ruling allows Fani Willis to remain on the case if she fires her ex-boyfriend Nathan Wade, it also leaves a stain. Judge Scott McAfee says the two appear to have testified untruthfully about the timing of their relationship. And he says the DA's public insistence that questions about the coupling were racially motivated was, quote, legally improper.
We'll continue to follow that story here on KSL. Right now, let's talk to Debbie for a minute. Debbie, it's good to see you. This is interesting to me. This is a settlement with realtors?
Just announced this morning, just a little bit ago, maybe an hour ago, the National Association of Realtors has reached a settlement over, it's been through the courts. There's been this long-standing practice where home sellers foot the bill, the 6% that they pay, 3% for their agent, and then 3% to the buyer's agent, the real estate agent, for the sale of the home. And that is usually the practice has been that it would come out of the home seller's, equity that they make on the home. So they pay. So if it's a $500,000 home, what's a $500,000 home anymore? $700,000 home, 6% of that, just it's easy to do the math. If it's $700,000 home, that's $42,000 that goes to both the buyer
so each
and
agent
the
gets
seller's
$21,000.
Yes.
Wow.
That's how it's been done for years. Because of the settlement this morning, there are going to be major changes in how that is done going forward. And again, this all stems from a lawsuit that was brought on by Missouri homeowners quite a while ago that's now being hashed out in terms of this settlement, Amanda. And what it'll mean is that the seller will negotiate with their agent to pay a commission, probably in the 2 to 3% range, and the buyer will be on their own to negotiate with their agent what they're willing to pay for a real estate fee. Now, does that mean that the buyer won't eventually ask the seller, hey, will you cover my real estate fees? But that will be an option for the seller to say yes or no. In the past, the practice has always been that the seller gets stuck with that tab. So going forward, the buyer will be on their own to get their real estate agent, negotiate their own fees. And there's even talk now that it could be something that maybe the buyer doesn't want an agent to do everything for them, but they want to pick from a menu of items and options, such as maybe they, help them with the fine print. In terms of really looking through the real estate contract, but they don't want to go with them to all the open houses. So we'll have to see how that shakes out.
When will that go into effect?
Almost immediately. Well, if the federal court signs off on this, it'll be in effect right away.
Oh, wow.
So we'll have much more on this developing story today, but this is a major change to how things have been done when buying and selling properties across America for the last several decades.
That is fascinating, Deb. I want to learn more. I'll be listening.
Thanks, Amanda.
David Dujanovic starting at 9 here on KSL. Right now, 8:19. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, still clear on I-15 from Draper to downtown. It's been pretty nice on most of the city streets for the last while, but Bangor beginning to back up South Jordan around 9800 South, 106 South near I-15. That crash is cleared. Heather?
We still have a bit of delay up in Ogden on 12th Street. This is just as you exit I-15 or try to get on I-15 all the way over to Fairfield Avenue. So it looks like traffic lights are out along much of 12th Street right now, so you're having to treat those as a four-way stop, and that's what's backing people up eastbound and westbound. Now, once you get on I-15, you really haven't had any problems all morning long. No brake lights, no slowdowns into downtown Salt Lake. If you need to get to the airport using Legacy Parkway in the West Side Belt, also good options for you. Eric.
Getting busy getting into Park City. Hey, that happens this time of year on Fridays. Southbound 224 getting slow from the Kimball Junction exits off of I-80 down toward Park City, and likewise westbound slowing on Kearns Boulevard from US 40 into town. I-15 Utah County, that's looking good right now. No problems. Springfield to Point of the Mountain, that's a 22-minute drive. Need a perfect event venue? There's a place. This is the place, Heritage Park. Ideal for weddings, events, featuring 11 venues, beautiful grounds, affordability for any celebration. Call or visit thisistheplace.org. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast looking at a high of 56 today, partly cloudy skies, and some pesky east winds north of Salt Lake City. 57, mostly sunny tomorrow, a little bit breezy. Less wind on Sunday, partly cloudy, 60 degrees. Here comes high pressure. Sunny skies on Monday, 62 up to 64. Very spring-like for your Tuesday sunny skies. We'll keep it in the mid-60s as we work through middle of next week with more clouds. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, downtown, it is 34 degrees. By the way, we have some Jazz tickets to give away to Monday night's game at the Delta Center. All you need to do to be entered to win is text the word Jazz to 57500 and. You should also listen on Monday morning because I'll give you a second keyword on Monday morning that you can text to 57500 for a second chance to win those lower bowl seats. Rudy Gobert's in town on Monday. We want to send you to see the Jazz, so stick around. This portion of Utah's Morning News is brought to you by Durden's Appliance, and my friend Todd Hall is here. Todd, it was a week ago today I came up to see it at your showroom there.
Oh, it's so good to have you. You know, making some breakfast, seeing all the new kitchens. What a great way to spend Friday afternoon.
You have how many kitchens now? Because it just is beautiful.
We're up to 12 live kitchens. Everything in that is, in fully stocked kitchens, live. You can try it before you buy it at really any price point. That's something we're really proud of.
If you're thinking about remodeling a kitchen, I encourage you to go to Durden's first because I saw options there. I had not even known, I didn't know they existed. So I'm thinking much more creatively after seeing your kitchens.
It gives you a lot of ideas, and then that way you're going to actually see, instead of just how it looks on a concrete floor, how it's going to work in your kitchen, how it's going to look.
Yeah. I mean, how big of a stove do I want? Do I want gas or electric? I love my convection oven, by the way. Can I just tell you, I have never cooked this good in my life.
Well, we had no idea how good a baker you were. You didn't have the right equipment.
Right. So you've got some specials, too, some rebates that are being offered. Will you tell our listeners about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Spring's a great time to start a remodel. A lot of people are refreshing the kitchen. And in addition to the fact that we're always offering the lowest prices in town, we're competitive with any national chain. There's some great rebates. Sub-Zero Wolf, which is our flagship luxury brand. They're offering up to $2,500 rebates, Cafe and Profile up to $2,000, G's Monogram up to $4,000. And check this one out. With Thermador, if you buy a range, they're giving you a dishwasher for free.
Oh, wow. And the one thing I really want people to know is that there's something for every budget. So, yes, you have the luxury top of the line, but you've got things that we can afford, too, at your showroom.
Absolutely. We take it very seriously and being price competitive at any price point and having a great experience.
Yeah. So don't think, that you have to go to some box store to save money. You'll match the lowest price at Durden's.
Every single day. And our digital price tags are updated every hour, looking at making sure that we're the lowest price of any national chain. We're going to take care of the shopping for you. So you focus on getting what's right for your house. We'll worry about being price competitive.
All right. How do we find you?
Oh, we're at Durden'sAppliance.com, and we're also at Fifth South and Bountiful. Brands you know it. Prices you love.
Good morning. I'm the 40% off window company.
40% off? Of what?
Hey, 40% off.
Yeah, I'll bet it's your biggest sale of the year. This week only, because you need a model home in our neighborhood. Well, nothing. It's baloney. Hi, this is Kathy.
And Doug of Window World. When you hear those things, you know you've entered the baloney zone.
Resist the force of the baloney zone.
Find Window World online at windowworldutah.com.
Or call Window World at 281-8111. That's 281-8111.
And that's no baloney.
Watching Utah's Money brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your trusted local fiduciary advisors, TrajanWealth.com. The Fed will hold meetings next week to discuss interest rates, but investors are not expecting to see a cut just yet after we got those 2 inflation reports that were higher than expected. Disney is hoping to see a surge of subscribers today because, and many of you already know this, the streaming version of Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour comes out on Disney today. Target will start rolling out express self-checkout lanes this Sunday. The idea is that they'll strictly enforce the 10-item or less limit. All right, let's see what the markets are doing. They are down a little bit. The Dow is off 99, which is 0.25%. We're at 38,806. S&P is off 24. That's 0.5%. The Nasdaq is down 114. That's 0.75%. We have a crash that is still being cleaned up from 106 South to go on to northbound I-15 in Sandy. We'll take a look at that and the rest of your commute just ahead. And the news is sponsored by Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner in life.
Revere Health is dedicated to making healthcare easier and more accessible by offering the latest technologies to improve the patient experience. We offer convenient telehealth appointments so you can receive care from the comfort of your own home. We also offer an online patient portal called Follow My Health that enables you to manage your healthcare online. When you download the Follow My Health app, you can exchange direct messages with your doctor, view lab and test results as soon as they are available, renew prescriptions, and review upcoming appointments. If you're ready to schedule your annual physical for 2024, we've made that easier too. Revere Health now offers the ability to schedule appointments online for primary care and select specialties. Visit our website at reverehealth.com to learn more or to schedule your next appointment online. Through these convenient solutions, Revere Health demonstrates its commitment to quality, patient-centric care every day. Revere Health, your partner in health, your partner for life.
Are you using the KSL News Radio app to listen to your favorite shows whenever you want? You can podcast Utah's morning news even after it's finished at 9. You can listen to David Najanovic or Boyd Matheson. Just click on the podcast tab. And you can stream Jeff Kaplan live between 3 and 7 right from the player. All of those shows, plus the KSL Greenhouse and Cougar Sports Saturday, they're on the app for KSL News Radio. KSL News Radio.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
8:29, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back to you, Andy.
And right now, traffic on I-15 is all clear between Draper and downtown. There's just a last little bit of cleanup going on 106 South in the left turn lane to go to North 15 in Sandy for traffic coming out of South Jordan. Haven't seen any new delays on Bangerter or on Mountain View, although Bangerter's pretty heavy in that construction near 2700 West in Riverton. Heather?
Looks like the power has been restored on 12th Street in Ogden. At least all the delays are gone on 12th Street. They had been pretty bad, both eastbound and westbound between Wall Avenue and I-15, but those are all gone at this time. Just be aware, though, if you do run across a traffic light that is out, you'll need to treat that as a four-way stop. I-15, Legacy Parkway have most of your traffic right now, but they're both traveling at speed in both directions between Ogden and Salt Lake. Eric.
US 89, a little bit busy between Spanish Fork and Mapleton at some of the intersections this morning. Not too bad on Highway 6 getting onto the freeway, and once you're there, northbound 15 through Utah County is a 24-minute drive up to Point of the Mountain. If you're over on Redwood Road, we're starting to see a little bit of slowdowns approaching the Porter Rockwell intersection. The Serta mattress sale is happening now at Two Brothers Mattress. Get a queen Serta mattress for $379. That's a Serta for $379. Visit one of their 5 stores or twobrothersmattress.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
That sun is bright coming in my window this morning, and I love it. Up to 56 for a high today, 57 tomorrow. We get up into the 60s then on Sunday, and we'll stay there for the rest of the 7-day forecast. Look at this. The high temperature will be next Wednesday, 65 degrees. Another storm starts to move in on Thursday. Another chance of rain on Thursday of next week. Right now, downtown sunny, 34 degrees.
You're listening to Utah's Morning News with Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good morning. KSL News Time is 8:30. Tim has the day off. KSL's top story this hour. Winds are still strong this morning, and it could take some time before they die down more. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more now from Farmington.
Just after 8 o'clock this morning, Park Lane clocked a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust, but still, that was way lower than the 85-mile-an-hour gusts that were forecasted for this area yesterday. National Weather Service senior meteorologist Monica Traphagen told me why.
Looking like the low that's giving us the easterly flow ended up going a little bit farther south than we expected, so the pressure gradient over the area wasn't quite as strong.
That likely played in our favor, as I've seen very little, if any, damage up here this morning. Traphagen says the wind will continue to die down as we work through the day, but we are expecting to see some weaker gusts this weekend. In Farmington, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Neighbors are cleaning up from damage caused by gusty winds that blew through on Thursday. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson reports.
Neighbor Enrique Sanchez was out late afternoon yesterday working with the chainsaw, clearing out limb and tree debris from gusts up to and exceeding 65 miles an hour. Winds should blow out of here early afternoon today. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
We do have some scattered power outages along the Wasatch Front from this windstorm. Right now, the biggest one looks like Ogden, where there are 1,400 homes and businesses without power. The worst of the windstorm might be behind us, but Utah's Commissioner of Public Safety still has some words of advice. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more.
These winds can pose a real risk of tipping to high-profile vehicles, according to Utah Department of Public Safety Commissioner Jess Anderson.
We see it all too often, particularly semis or other high-profile trailers, camp trailers and such.
Anderson says to be careful, and he tells KSL at Night that the department sometimes shuts down the road to RVs and semis when the winds get this bad. However, Anderson says it will be getting safer the longer the morning goes on.
And like I said, we anticipate and expect much lighter winds come daylight.
Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national story this hour. President Biden is traveling to states critical to this year's general election, while former President Trump is focusing on his multiple trials.
In New York, the district attorney's office now offering to delay Trump's criminal hush money trial set to start in 2 weeks. They say they just received thousands of documents from the Justice Department and want to give Trump's legal team time to review them.
ABC's M. Wynn reporting. The numbers are finalized, and the Utah Republican Party says former President Trump secured over half of the vote in Utah. He got 56.4% voter support. But it was pretty close. I mean, Nikki Haley got 42.7%. Former President Trump, of course, is the official Republican Party nominee. We're getting answers from Senator Mitt Romney after he voted against a bill that would have expanded compensation for downwinders, victims of nuclear radiation testing during the 50s and 60s. A spokesperson for the senator says the bill is too broad and too expensive. He supported a similar bill last year, but claims that one was more specific. Our other Utah Senator Mike Lee also voted against that bill. Utah just took a step closer to putting some regulation on the beekeeping industry. Governor Spencer Cox signed a bill this week that asks for a working group of county bee inspectors to set rules for how many hives are too many for a single private property, and where it's not okay to keep those hives. If you want to bring the buzz to your yard, make sure to register your hives with the state's Department of Agriculture. KSL News Time is 8:34. Time for First Look Traffic, and back over to you, Andy.
Well, travel on the freeways has been great this morning, Amanda. We haven't had any backups or crashes to really affect you between Ogden and Provo, and that's still the case. We've got some slowing building now going south on Wasatch Boulevard between Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons, but even if you're going up to Parley's Canyon towards Park City, that's a pretty decent drive as well. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mortgage rates are falling across the nation, back under 7% for the first time since mid-February. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Gurr has more.
The 30-year fixed mortgage rate has dropped to 6.84%, according to data from the Mortgage Bankers Association. This is the lowest the rates have been since mid-February. The data shows the mortgage rate drop has increased buyer demand by nearly 5% since the beginning of March, although supply is still coming up short as homeowners are reluctant to put their homes on the market.
Here in Utah, local realtors expect rates to fall into the lower 6 or 5% range, where the market will largely open up for both buyers and sellers. 75% of the counties in Utah saw growth this year. The latest data from the Census Bureau shows Utah's population grew by 36,000 people between July of 2022 and 23. A large chunk of that growth is from Utah County, but the most populated county is Salt Lake with 1.2 million residents. The CEO of the Utah Food Bank tells KSL News Radio to take care of all the Utahns in need, they would need 46 million more pounds of food than they did last year.
The need is really starting to escalate. There's always been an element of concern, but now as we see those numbers continuing to grow, now we have to do things just like this on Saturday to help us be prepared.
Jeanette Bott says they handed out 60 million pounds of food last year, and now the donations that came in over the holidays are beginning to run out. Tomorrow, volunteers will be going door to door collecting bags of food from people's porches for the Feed Utah Food Drive.
Food, time, or money. Those are the three things we need.
Don Brinker-Hoff, KSL News Radio.
The water level in the southern arm of the Great Salt Lake is already as high as it was during the record runoff last spring, and we haven't even brought down the snowpack yet. The Great Salt Lake Collaborative says that won't impact plans already in place to try and get additional water into the lake throughout the year. Rising water levels have forced part of the Jordan River Trail to close. The section going under 7800 South is shut down for now. The rising water levels are also causing some concern for homeowners nearby. The increased flow is due to water releases from Utah Lake. City leaders are asking all trail users to be careful along the shoreline and stay out of the closed area. Coming up in just a moment, we'll get another look at your morning commute, which has been really nice, but we do see some slowing now. Let's see, Bangerter Highway as you're approaching the 2700 West intersection in Riverton. We'll take a look at that and the rest of the commute just ahead.
Spend time with KSL News Radio and get a deeper understanding of the world around us.
I do listen to KSL so much because you've got voices like Boyd Matheson.
I listen to him every day.
You can trust him.
Inside Sources, weekdays 1 to 3.
On KSL News Radio.
Utah. It's Toy Hauler Month at all 3 Paris RV locations. We've gathered 3 of our top-selling toy haulers and are blowing them out to you this month for the same price you choose. Get the 2024 XLR Boost, the Open Range 25TH, or the Cherokee 24 RRT. Your choice, $29,995 or $304 per month. That's right, a toy hauler for only $29,995. Go to ParisRV.com.
It's Toy Hauler Madness at Paris RV.
Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores. We're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH, that sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month. Zero down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
Starting March 18th for 3 days only, shop limited-time doorbusters during Lowe's MVP's bonus days. Buy 1 Metabo HPT 15-degree roofing nailer. Get 1 box of Metabo HPT 1 1/4-inch collated roofing nails free, a $49.98 value. Plus, save $39 on a Little Giant A4 6-foot 300-pound stepladder. Shop these deals and more while supplies last. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 3/18 through 3/20. Selection varies by location.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and I spilled some on the floor.
Oh, well, use these $50 bills to wipe it up.
Perfect. Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
Stop. Instead of using money, use an old rag. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
If you're just joining us this morning, the worst part of that windstorm seems to have headed out already, but we will check back in with our Adam Small, who's been up in Farmington. They seem to have gotten the worst of it up there in Farmington. We'll check in with him in just a moment. Right now, 8:39, traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Andy?
Amanda, travel through the Salt Lake Valley, all clear on I-15 and I-80. It is getting a bit backed up on southbound Mountain View corridor, though. Especially waiting to go through that intersection at Old Bingham Highway and then a little bit going towards Daybreak. Hasn't been too bad on the northbound side, thankfully. Traffic on Bangerter itself in Riverton slow coming over from 134th south towards 2700 west. Heather?
We have a little bit of congestion on some of our city streets in Weber and Davis County. It's pretty in very typical areas right now, especially between Clinton and West Point on 2000 West. Also on Harrison Boulevard in Ogden, but I-15, US 89, Legacy Parkway, they've been traveling at speed all morning long. Eric?
Heading into Park City, slowdowns on Kearns Boulevard westbound from US 40 into town. Nothing unfamiliar about that for folks that frequent Park City. And if you're exiting I-80 at Kimball Junction, a little bit of slowdowns at the exit ramp itself. I-80 through the mountains, though, does look good. Don't miss the Bedrock Quartz bonus cash event. Get 11% same as cash allowance or 12 months 0% financing on any purchase over $3,000, including countertop sinks and more. Visit bedrockquartz.com. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're looking at partly cloudy skies today with some winds out of the east, mainly north of Salt Lake City, high of 56. Overnight, we'll likely keep the winds around 35 the low. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 57, up to 60 by Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
34 degrees downtown, and we'll get more from Adam Small, who's up in Farmington reporting on the wind condition. That's coming up in just a moment here on KSL, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. This hour is brought to you by Durden's. Have you been to the new Durden's showroom yet in Bountiful? Because it is beautiful. Todd Hall is with me, and I went there last Friday, Todd. And as I'm walking through these kitchens, I just thought, oh my goodness, I had no idea you could get a range like that and have it configured in this way next to a fridge like that. I've seen refrigerators at your showroom I'd never seen before.
Well, that's the fun thing is that you don't really know what's out there.
No.
And we want to show it in real live kitchens where you can try the equipment and see how it's actually going to look and feel in your own kitchen. We do that at any price point. So we don't want people to think that it's only the ultra high end that you can have a live kitchen experience. We've got them at every price point, and we always make sure that we're the lowest price of any national chain.
I tell you, if you went in there and cooked on a range like the one I got from you, you'd be converting today because that convection oven just blows me away.
Isn't it wonderful? You know, with the right technique and the right equipment, anybody can make awesome meals at home.
And even it's something as simple as, it boils water in like 15 seconds. I used to think, oh my gosh, I can go take a bath and come back and that water won't be boiled yet. But now it's just like that.
Oh, it's great. And it just makes you able to do your thing and get on with life.
And with the double ovens, I can have food come out at the same time. It's just, if you're putting up with an old kitchen, I think spring is a good time to think about remodeling.
Well, a lot of people are starting some kitchen upgrades right now, and we want to match it with some great prices, great rebates. And so in addition to always paying the lowest price in town for your model, we've got some awesome rebates. Sub-Zero Wolf, which is our flagship luxury brand, is offering up to $2,500 of rebates. Cafe and Profile up to $2,000. Monogram up to $4,000. Thermador, which is Bosch's luxury brand, they're offering a free dishwasher with every range. So there's just great values out there in addition to low prices. So if you want to try some stuff out and figure it out, come on in.
Plus, can I just say, I love supporting a family business. I mean, how long has Durden's been around for?
We've been around since 1957.
Oh, wow.
And just all Utah-based, keep our money right in our own economy.
So this is the thing. Go up and see those kitchens, people. See what you can get and then make up your mind.
Absolutely. And we're at 5th South and Bountiful. Brands you know it. Prices you'll love.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KSL News Time is 8:45. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
30-year fixed mortgage rates fell under 7% across the nation for the first time in a month, meaning demand is starting to grow despite a lack of inventory. I'm KSL News Radio's Alessandra Gert.
Second, a Georgia judge rules District Attorney Fani Willis can remain on the election interference case against former President Trump if Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade leaves the case. Third, traffic and weather together.
I-15 still clear of delays into and out of Salt Lake. We've got some busy city streets here and there, but even that for a Friday hasn't gotten as bad as it normally would. You should be able to get where you're going with almost no delay anywhere. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking at some wind to start the weekend, but some nice temperatures next week. I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, downtown 34 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. And time for KSL's top national stories.
This is a special report from ABC News Georgia election case. I'm Brian Clark. A judge ruled that the Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis can stay on the election interference case she brought against former President Trump and 18 others if she fires prosecutor Nathan Wade. Defense attorneys had called for Willis to be removed over her relationship with Wade. ABC's Stephen Portnoy says the ruling is not kind to Willis.
And this 23-page opinion contains harsh criticism of the district attorney. Judge Scott McAfee says Willis and Wade appear to have testified untruthfully about the timing of their relationship. McAfee blasts Willis for saying in a church speech that questions about the relationship amounted to her critics playing the race card. And McAfee says it all adds up to a tremendous lapse in judgment on Willis's part, calling her manner unprofessional.
Trump's lead attorney says they believe the judge did not afford appropriate significance to the prosecutorial misconduct. This is ABC News.
We just got word of hurricane-level winds in Farmington. Those winds have been messing with yards up there all night long. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has been driving around all morning to see what Utahns are waking up to in that part of the state, and he joins me now live. What do you see up there, Adam?
Well, man, at least on the good news, there hasn't been a lot of damage like I've been reporting all morning. Like I've driven both sides of town, tried cutting through as many streets as I can. And I mean, you got some twigs on the ground on Main Street that, kind of, catch you, you're a little sleepy in the morning, kind of caught me off guard when I heard the bumps. And, you got a couple of people left their trash cans out. Those got blown over. But other than that, though, I mean, you're driving around early in the morning, you're still seeing people's exterior lights on, so people didn't lose power, at least for the most part that I saw. Again, the one thing, though, I would just caution people here, some construction signs have blown over in these winds, and they're building these new roads on the west side of Farmington. They got a couple of road closure signs up that fell over. So it's just if you're listening to this and you're driving on the surface streets, just make sure you don't actually drive into a construction zone or something. That's probably the biggest thing I've seen.
Are you still feeling the wind at all up there?
Oh yeah, it's really cold. I relate to one of those texters that's just it's cold, it's super windy. I felt the 70-mile-an-hour gust that the National Weather Service reported up here because I'm literally right next to Park Lane, and it's cold, it's strong, it's been like this all morning.
So a 70-mile-an-hour gust. Can you stand up in a 70-mile-an-hour gust? I have no sense of that.
Well, I mean, that's probably strong enough to move you over. I mean, I got to be honest, I really did not want to get out of the car.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Because it's so cold out right now. But I mean, a 70-mile-an-hour gust, I mean, that's definitely enough to disrupt you while you're driving. I mean, if you're standing out in it, I mean, you're going to have to at least brace yourself. I mean, it's not slow for sure. I mean, I first weekend I ever lived in Utah, I felt the 99-mile-an-hour gusts up here. So it's not as bad, but it's definitely strong.
I guess it could, that's the takeaway, isn't it? That they forecast that it could have been up to 80 miles an hour, but I'm glad it didn't get as bad as they thought it might.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it definitely loud enough that you could hear it up here in Davis County overnight how loud the winds were. But when you're talking potentially 85 miles an hour out of Farmington Canyon, and the strongest so far they've clocked is 70. 15 miles an hour at these speeds makes a big difference. And yeah, just glad damage has been at a very minimal, if any, and hopefully it continues to trend in the positive direction as these winds hopefully continue to die down here as we go through the day.
All right, well, turn your heater on in the news car and come on back.
Oh, I definitely will.
All right, that's the In-Depth at 15 and 45, 8:49 now. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And back over to you, Andy.
Amanda, slowdowns increasing on Bangerter down at the south end. It's as you go between the 134th South intersection and then head through the construction and go east towards 2700 West and Redwood Road. The slowing is cleared after the 2700 West intersection. Nothing on I-15 that should add to your drive time, whatever you're getting on in Salt Lake County, whichever exit you're leaving. You're not going to have any backups between it. Heather?
We are starting to see a bit of congestion right at the US 89 I-84 interchange in South Ogden. That's also where we still have some pretty strong winds coming out of the canyon. But the good news is no accidents reported. All the earlier delay we had up in Ogden on 12th Street appears to be gone, so it looks like most of those traffic lights are working again. And we haven't had any problems all morning on any of the major freeways. Eric?
Out in Provo, it's getting a little bit busy on Center Street at 500 West, but major problems in Utah County not to be found right now on the freeway from Payson to Point of the Mountain. That's a 28-minute drive. Redwood Road slowing just a touch of it as you head northbound past 2100 North up towards Camp Williams. I'm Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Keep the hairspray handy if you live north of Salt Lake City. Pesky east winds continue with a high of 56 and partly cloudy skies. Mostly sunny tomorrow, less wind. We'll call it breezy. Partly cloudy, 60 degrees on Sunday, and high pressure on the move for Utah. Monday, 62. Tuesday, 64. Up to 65 for Wednesday and Thursday, with mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
It's actually a little cooler right now, 34 degrees and lots of sunshine downtown. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Coming up on the David Dujanovic Show, one of the topics they'll be talking about is this agreement between the National Realtors Association and a federal judge that will change the structure of the fees that real estate agents can charge. It is fascinating. We need to learn more about it, and we will. Coming up on David Dujanovic at 9 o'clock here on KSL News Radio.
The KSL News Radio movie show comes to My Hearing Centers this Friday from 10 to 1. But first, discover what My Hearing Centers can do for you. My Hearing Centers uses advanced technology to diagnose and treat hearing loss. These comprehensive evaluations determine the best treatment options. Then enjoy lifetime support with regular check-ins, cleaning, and maintenance. Call My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629. 801-701